saw those statistics, so many moto wins. I mean, a perfect season last year, and so far perfect this year after 2 motos. Can James Stewart catch up with Ricky Carmichael? I mean, people forget. I mean, they're like, oh, James, but it's Ricky who has not been beat. I mean, he has 2 perfect seasons in his career. James can't.
Barely made the corner, but whatever Ricky does, that's what he's going to do because he doesn't want to see him get away. And, you know, I don't know that his physical fitness is really where it ought to be. Since Houston, he hurt his ribs. Vegas, he hurt his hand. But the last round, he was sick. So
the mechanic gave him the pit board, Gossler, when he came by, and you know he gave him that update. Who's behind you? How much is the lead? And he'll check on that each lap. But look at this course. I mean, we talk about how the course and the riders adapt to that course. I don't know if there is a certain condition Ricky's good at. He's passing all of muddy, dry. He doesn't care. He just goes out there and blows through it.
He doesn't have any doubt in his ability to go fast the whole entire race. So right now, he's probably feeling like, go ahead, James. Catch me if you can. Let's go at it.
And yeah, let's see what you've got a little bit later. You saw the lap times, 3:20 or 2:20, shall I say. In the first practice of the day, 3:02. So, I mean, it's already, like you mentioned, the track's going to get better, already 30 seconds better than it was in the first practice of the day.
Ricky's starting to feel the pressure now. A mistake here and there. James, that just takes total strength right there to go through that section the way he did. Balance and strength. And these guys have got it wired. Ricky's been a little bit stronger for the long haul. This is James' first chance. And you know what? I'm encouraged to see that he's able to match Ricky that last lap and actually inch up a little bit more.
Ricky Carmichael, James Stewart first and second as they complete one more lap. Who knows, Ricky might not as well. But there, oh, nice knack-knack save by Ricky Carmichael. Pulled his foot off of the pegs. It's the top 5 spot now, though. Great start by Ricky Carmichael. You see James Stewart closing in fast. Right now, Aaron Bates is with his mechanic, Jeremy Albrecht.
J-Bone, it looks like Bubba's closing in that gap on RC. Do you think he has what it takes today?
Yeah, definitely. You know, last week he had a tough race. He was sick throwing out the night before. And, you know, no excuses. It's a long season and it can happen to anybody. So he's just out there trying to have some fun. He hasn't really had fun the last couple races. So looks like he's doing a good job out there. Thanks.
And what you don't see when you're watching this battle is how bad James Stewart is getting roosted from that 450. I mean, just being next to the racetrack, it hurts.
Oh, look at him pull up side. They saying hello, going to the inside, setting up. And it looks like Stewart takes over and passes Carmichael. When was the last time we can say that?
Down there like that, Ricky's going, hey, if you want it that bad, I'll just follow you for a little while and figure out where you're catching.
The Fox Racing Kawasaki gets by the Fox Racing Suzuki. Carmichael drops back to second. Now will he see what James is doing? James obviously a little bit faster. Will he tuck in behind and say, all right, I can pick up here and there? Or does he just say, set the tone and try and get by as quick as he can?
Well, you know, Ricky doesn't like to run around in second, but at the same time, this has got to be kind of fun for him, you know? He's got a pretty good points gap over James. He can afford to be a little play cat and mouse here, and James hasn't proven it yet. Ricky's just sitting there biding his time.
You kind of talked about it earlier. James Stewart, hurt thumb. He's been injured several times this year, but that thumb, I mean, a couple of weeks into it, when you tear up your thumb, you're hanging on a lot by your thumb. A lot of people don't realize it. I don't think he's 100% either, but he looks pretty fast out there. When you can't hang on, it's hard to go fast. I think that was part of Hangtown's problem as well.
Yeah, just, he hits that berm and it just stops. Then,
and nowhere to go. He went to stick a foot down, and down goes Stewart. Stewart has to pick it up. They have a long, nicely, but what happened there?
Well, it set it up. He hit the berm a little bit. All these berms kind of lead into a big, mushy hook. And there's no concern about third place catching up, but this battle that the crowd was really waiting to see is over with now. You can see James from another angle just getting caught up in that soft berm, and you see him looking to try to block Ricky. He knows what's going on.
Look at that angle.
Ricky's like, I'm not going to shut off. Are you kidding me?
Hey, that's great camera work right there, and Ricky almost gets thrown off the track. I thought James was going straight down.
No one's going to feel as happy about their moto as this guy.
Another moto win. That's 3 for 3 on the year for Ricky Carmichael. The Makita Suzuki takes it again here.
Is patience what took place there?
Yeah, you know, we came together. He made him. He just went past me, heads up, and then I got behind him and was following him, and he went in this berm, and the berm kind of gave away, and then I was right behind him, and he tried to get back in front of me, and we hit, and he fell down, and the rest was just kind of a boring race, but another moto win. That's the important thing, and I felt really good out there.
Boy, you got a long season left. I was feeling good. You know, I wasn't even really like pushing it that hard. I just wanted to stay smooth and stuff, and I was right there, and I'll catch him through those S corners. So it's going to be a real good season for him.
Do you feel like you're at any kind of disadvantage not riding a four-stroke?
You know, this guy's here at Kawasaki, you know, they're making my bike great, and, you know, it's the best a two-stroke can be. It's hard here and there, but, you know, in the switchbacks, that's where I catch him, so it ain't going to be no 24-0 season, I tell you that now.
Wow. Man, you can see the desire from Ricky to get up there and challenge James Stewart, not let him build up a lead.
We're setting it up. This is Ricky's chance not to win the overall, maybe lose a moto. A lot is on the line personally for Ricky Carmichael. Very seldom has somebody been out front and stayed out in front on Ricky. I mean, he comes up to him, he gets by him. But right now, it looks like James Stewart is every bit as fast as Ricky. Actually, Ricky's already starting to close in. He doesn't want to take too long.
He is closing in a little bit, but I get the overall. It's certainly doable. That's the same corner he got swirly in the first moto. Just a little bit of a chance right there into that berm that time, but nothing to stop his momentum. Okay, he takes a little look over to the left, see Ricky coming into that corner. He's well aware of where Ricky is. David, did we speed up the camera or something? He's just, and you could hear him all the way around the racetrack too, but before inching up.
The point I was trying to make earlier is last year, especially year before that, I see James Stewart on a 125 do things that are unbelievable. I said, I don't think he can ride a 250 that way. I mean, he's only ridden so many 250s, you know, main events, whether it be Supercross and Motocross. He shows you he has the speed there.
Yeah, well, it's really, but today all it's all about for me is seeing that, okay, James is going to win. You know, I couldn't answer that 24-0 question because I just kind of stopped myself and realized James is going to get faster and faster. He's like Ricky, he doesn't like to lose.
They don't like to lose, and they'll do anything to keep from it. Ricky Carmichael is in second behind James Stewart. How many times have we said that? Carmichael in second in a Motocross National. FMF, our title sponsor throughout the year. And look at James Stewart. He leads moto number 2, this 250 race. And Ricky Carmichael closing in, trying to get by seriously fast right now. He knows time is of the essence. It may be a long moto, but he's saying, right now, baby, I need it now.
Look at that dirt that James landed in off that triple. Not an easy triple to do, by the way. They're some of the only guys doing it out there. The track so many times. What I got to do to hold him off. That's what's going through James' mind right now. Is he knows that Ricky, since he inched up, he's going to have to deal with this guy for the rest of the race, and that's a pretty overwhelming task.
The KX250 to the same section of the track, but totally on the outside when you're hugging those inside lines.
Look how hard they're hitting these berms. They're hitting these berms and moving them. They're molding the track into what they like. It's so hard. I think some of the lines are just like by accident, you know, they're getting in the berm so fast, the berm just really takes
Power from these machines, the big bikes out there. We don't race 500s anymore. You were a specialist at that, but these things have so much horsepower. They are able to do that. Unlike Stewart with a 125, he had to really keep up that momentum. 250, he can make his own line at will.
Now, there's a lot of places out here on the track, some of the tight stuff where James has an advantage, but he changed his line. And look at Ricky.
Taking advantage of it. Stewart right in the middle of the road right there as they get by lap track.
You know that you can tell because that last lap on the downhill, James had to alter his line.
On the inside goes Carmichael again, trying to stick that yellow front fender up there, saying, I'm here, you better not make a bobble. Might not have been the fastest line that time, but just saying, hey, here I am.
Look at this moto, too. Now, Ricky, he never used to like that section because it beat the crud out of you. They're both getting over the step up, and Ricky is setting them up.
Setting him up on that right-hand side, number 4 of Carmichael. There's Stewart. Stewart looks over, he shuts the door, but too late. Carmichael gets by, and now Stewart goes at it again. Stewart put the pressure in. Oh, and almost a replay of what happened in Moto 1. Stewart sits that foot out, almost gets it taken down.
He was only able to double that as a result. He couldn't get the run out of the corner. He didn't lose that much time, but man, it just goes to show, like what we've been talking about with James, he doesn't give up. Why he goes for it, even though he knew Ricky was passing him. Right at the halfway point, too. Ricky just decides, let's hit this wide open. Look at James' correction. Back to the inside. No room. Ricky was able to jump that jump, clear out onto the flat.
Goes out in front, but he didn't start that way. Early hole shot recipient was Chad Reed. He made an immediate left turn, went off the track, dropped back. Carmichael had to fight. James Stewart just a few laps. Carmichael takes moto number 2 at Mount Morris. He is stoked, and his 4th victory here at the Mount Morris track in the 250cc class. Yeah, he's happy there.
And if you look back down that Bradshaw Boulevard straightaway, you don't see James Stewart.
I'm having fun. You know, it's just a working process, and we get better every week. And yeah, I feel good. You know, I feel like I can win these things. You know, I just need to work harder after last week. You know, dehydration. I really recovered during the week, and I'm back. You know, I'm getting stronger, and it'll be good for Southwick. I like staying, and hopefully we get it.
Oh, it was fun. You know, that battling like that. You know, regardless of result, that's what racing's all about. And that's what the sport needs. That's what everybody wants to see. And this was a fun weekend. It was fun for me. I'm sure it was fun for Bubba. And it's going to be like that, you know. I'm sure the other guys are going to step in there with Kevin and Chad. And but we were definitely riding good today, and I felt good. Definitely got to give it up to the team. Makita Suzuki, they were awesome.
And he's starting to look a little bit better than he did. Look at this line. Watch this. We're up. That is just about impossible. When I saw him do that in practice yesterday, I about fell off the four-wheeler, man. I could not even believe it. And it wanted to know about you ain't swimming all that efficient. You might think you're going fast, but you're not.
Let's take a look back and see where the difference is. Right there, Carmichael closing in, definitely in second place after he got by David Vuillemin, but it's still
on the inside. What's happened to the lines here is everyone's smart now. They all know where the good lines are going to be, so you almost have to go back and take like amateur lines because those are still smooth.
And riding very impressed, very inspired it looks like, but also riding inspired is Ricky Carmichael. As Stewart having to work through lap traffic, he gets by. Now Ricky has to deal with, great move by Stewart right there.
And he was still able to clear the top and opened up about another 25 yards on Ricky.
Look how fast James is in that section, like you would talk. He's lapping up 20th place. Lapping 20th place. You see the pit numbers for the guys.
And here he is with an opportunity to still win the moto. So that, you know, this can't feel very good for James to be like, man, I had a good lead. There's Rick Johnson going. He's smart. He's a little sharp, but he's got sharp teeth.
It's almost like hunting, though, you know, raccoon hunting. You know, you hear the hound dogs behind you.
He's not going to race his teammate the same way either, but still, he should have adjusted that. Look how that section is so tight, and Ricky went through there just like it was a flat corner.
Setting it up, foot out is James Stewart going a little wide there. Ricky has a much better line in that turn, though. He set him up right on the rear fender. Carmichael has his points and Bubba has his.
Yeah, James is, you know what, he's got the ability to raise his game, and he raised it.
Come on, Carmichael, that's what they're cheering. They are getting loud on the sidelines, or they're cheering for Bubba.
Nice
Bubba gets past. Ricky takes over the lead. Downhill one more time, but there goes Bubba, his fast section. But lands on the back of Carmichael. Carmichael says, what are you doing?
James was out. He was out.
Bubba landed in the back of Carmichael. That's a case of two lines converging there. And it looks like Kevin Windham's going to take the lead, but more importantly, is James Stewart all right?
I think, you know, Gosler is just hoping to get the bike started. There's Big James, Ricky Carmichael going, what the heck was that? Ricky just like going, come on, man. I passed him fair and square, and he just jumped on him. We need another look at that.
So much slower just in that one particular part. How does James make up that much difference? Oh, man. Melon thumper by Stewart. Big James concerned about his son. Here's Malcolm.
You're going, hey, that was, what the heck was that, man? That could have ruined both of our careers or taken us out for the season. I think what James was trying to do was to say, you know, he fell a little unorthodox and did everything a little bit more. It's good to see James okay, but he's probably like, okay, what happened there?
Look at that stat. Out of 11 motos, nearly 50% of them did not finish with him at the last stop. Did we ever see that? He felt he owed it to him, but nobody also hands, you know, Bubba position ever. I don't see that. And Kevin Windham, a good ride, put himself in position for the victory. He takes it. You can see a disappointed Carmichael. Welcome back to Unadilla. Some words being exchanged between Kevin Windham on the right and Ricky Carmichael on the left. Win since 03, David. I mean, that's amazing there. And that was the year that Ricky was super dominant. You see him over there talking to Scott Taylor. He is one angry redheaded kid out there, and he is tore up on that back. Tyler got the best of him.
Well, we've seen some pretty wild rides so far this season, but probably none quite like this. Ricky, what a battle. You just had two crashes, one really big one with James. What took place there?
You have to ask him that. You know, it's just a shame. I fell and then caught right up to him. I think I was like 18 seconds back, and followed him for about 3 laps, and made a nice clean move on him. And then, I don't know, I guess he thought he was going to jump on me, and him not crash and me crash, and you know, that's just dangerous. So I guess I just have to give him a little more room next time. It's just a bummer, you know. Now that's not a clean way to race.
Just behind the number 4. We'll see how long he stays that way. You see both riders popping up a little bit. What does Carmichael do? Does
James
how many
take
times
a different line, keep from getting boosted. He's probably a little leery of riding close to him though after what happened last time. So I think, you know, he'll just watch him for a bit, see what's going on, and if he's not riding really fast and holding his own, Ricky will find a way around. He doesn't hesitate. He'll try to make that move.
Fine. Now what do? Do you just say, well, that was a fluke. Bubba learned his lesson. He's not going to do that again. But still, you have to think, I'm going to pass him. He's going to probably charge pretty hard.
Yeah, I think Ricky, you could probably see himself a little bit in James. And, whoa! Unbelievable. Just tucks that triple right in front of him. There's only a few people that have done that this weekend, and that's, the crowd was already on their feet. Now they're on their tiptoes after that one. Beautiful.
And Carmichael has to see it going on just in front of him, too. I mean, you know, he's going to run it in there. James has to go wide and clear that section. He's going to say, well, I'll take the line. Now it's you who has to back off. But James really not backing down. He's out in front. The 259 Kawasaki.
His face always in the podium. He's like, man, I was born to race. I don't care, first or last. He just loves it. He loves it.
Ooh.
A little case of Ricky right there. That doesn't bother him.
Facing
right now, he doesn't want to get boosted probably very much longer. Those rocks hurt, especially through there. I was following Hannah through that section back in 1983, and a rock hit me with a finger, and I couldn't feel my hand the rest of the moto.
There goes Ricky, pulls up side by side, catches a little air there, loses ground. He's set up on the inside now. Bubba slingshots back. James Stewart goes back to the inside. Ricky takes over the lead. I incorrectly said it was Windham in third. It's actually Fonseca, but look at this. Now he's not backing down at all. High side. Unfortunate. And Ricky says, what the heck just happened? He hits the dirt again. James was aggressive right there, David.
It's hard to tell. It looks like maybe his shoulder. But he's right in the track, too.
Yeah, having a hard time.
What I love to see this kid. You know, I love to see his desire to try to race, you know?
Well, he could have got a frog there. We don't want to guess on what it may be. He's definitely holding that right shoulder, but
Ricky goes down fast enough to keep that inside line, so James got to get on the brakes really hard. Look at that front end is tough. As soon as you get out of the wood chip, you hit that base underneath. It's rocky and wet.
Tired to go either, David. He's
up the hard way. He's okay.
That's a good thing to say. Stick with us. Hopefully we can find out more on Bubba's condition.
I just got the wind knocked out of him and hurt his shoulder a little bit, but he'll be all right. He's back out there right now. It just took a little bit to get back going, but a couple fenders missing, but he won't give up.
Good to see him up and going again.
Yeah, thanks.
Back to Ricky as you take him out of his game. It's James, and after that, it's just going to be Ricky going, I've done enough. Be like Lance, 7 tours is enough.
Enough is enough. Ricky Carmichael wins again, 25 overalls. Look at that. Today's results, no question. Ricky comes down from there.
Well, it's been 6 weeks since we've been back here in New York, and 6 weeks since we've seen a battle like that in the 250 class. Ricky, once again, you and Bubba collided. What actually took place?
You know, I don't know. He got the whole shot and followed him for a couple laps and put a nice pass on him in the back. Kind of just went through the inside, and coming down that hill, I think he just tried to go down it really fast and try to get by me. And you know, that thing was rough, so I was taking it easy. And I guess he thought he could get by me, and I heard him. Then he came alongside of me, and then I seen him next to me, and he just lost it. You know, that was pretty. Dangerous place to go fast just because it's, you know, I kind of had the main line, and you know, it's going to be tough just because it's so rough. But I hate to see that. I wanted to race him heads up the whole moto, but I'm just glad that I was in front.
I know everybody here was behind you, especially the promoters. I think he was definitely optimistic. I don't know if you noticed or not, but your plaque had already been inscribed Ricky Carmichael first place. It wasn't even a sticker.
All right, that's awesome. I guess he's got faith in me. The streak goes on here at Broome, and you know, the promoters do a great job here. They did good. The track was really good the second moto it came to, and it was a great day for racing. So.
side of camera right there in the first turn. James Stewart washes the front end and down he goes. We saw James throwing down some of the fastest lap times in practice, but he made some mistakes. And look at now, Chad Reed's making a mistake, and Stewart jumps right over his head. Stewart has cut that lead down to 1.7 seconds. James Stewart is reeling in the goat, and right now, Ricky Carmichael, neither one of them, Ricky does not want to let Bubba around him because he does not want to let Bubba get in his head. When we showed up, he's got the young gun, James Bubba Stewart in second, showing that lucky number 7. 7-11, baby. He can't wait for Vegas with that.
Carmichael, but not for long. Here comes Stewart. What a great drive off the corner. Now Carmichael back on the outside. Oh, what a tremendous battle here tonight in Toronto.
We saw James Stewart make the pass just a lap ago. They're counting lap traffic, and Ricky is unable to triple that section. Guys are giving each other a lot of leeway. These are two champions with a lot of respect for each other.
6 laps to go. The other thing that comes into play, during this kind of a fight where you know now they have to give 110% to hang in there at this level.
Last lap, Bubba squares up the inside, hits that rut. We see Ricky goes wide, is able to triple over that line, but Bubba is only able.
Pulls up alongside. Now he dives off the corner, comes back to the inside.
How great is to watch these guys? These guys are...
The riders talking earlier this week about the fact, oh, look at Stewart to the inside. He takes the lead.
Stewart,
3 to go.
Clearly Giants are able to mix. And this time it worked to the benefit of James, and now he's going to have to gap Carmichael, and Carmichael is going to attack him right back. Now James Bubba Stewart.
He's done it. James Bubba Stewart wins.
And he needs to gap these guys before these guys can get through the field quickly.
That's Ricky number 4, and there's James Stewart coming to the inside. Stewart, Carmichael spot away.
Carmichael gave Stewart way too much respect right there, and then just blows right back through, but past him through the whoops right here. A lot of room. Ricky, I think, was a little surprised, and then just drove right back by him through the whoops.
And you can hear this stadium crowd cheering all of these moves. You see it, and they're cheering these two, who everybody expects to see battling for the championship all season.
And Fonseca goes down through the rhythm section, thrown up over the bar, down just like that, out of the lead, Stewart.
Chad Reed has the lead. Carmichael sits in second. Stewart's in third. A highly anticipated season of Supercross racing ever. And this is why everybody expected to see these 3 riders battling it out on some new suspension pieces as well. And they've done a lot of work on that number 4 Suzuki since we last saw him before Anaheim. And it's
section coming out of the tunnel jump. Carmichael just made the pass.
Listen to the cheers in the background as RC goes to the front. Ricky Carmichael. Have we seen everything out of him yet?
Carmichael through the whoops.
We talked about how vicious those whoop section could be. Meanwhile, it's Chad Reed out in front, but for how long? Here comes Stewart. Reed bangs into the side of him. But it's Stewart who comes out with the number 1 spot, and this crowd goes crazy.
Mistake, doesn't even have to pass in a second, and then just eats up Chad Reed in a couple sections. Chad makes a mistake.
This race of the season, the Anaheim opener goes to James Stewart. The Kawasaki rider to the inside, takes over Vuillemin coming up the inside. He's now up to 4th as he gets by Fonseca.
Carmichael needs to set his sights on Stewart quickly.
Carmichael tries to do the same and come right back. Oh, Tedesco bobbles. Big time. And that really allowed exciting to the fans and the crowd, but Jenny, that's not the quickest way. You need to get the wheels back on the ground, driving forward.
Yeah, the quicker you get back down on the ground, you're going to make things happen.
There it is.
Oh, Stewart got the inside of Tedesco, takes over lead. Tedesco trying to come up the inside of him. And he's successful. Move up to the bigger Supercross class.
There's a move from the teammate. And a very
clean lap traffic, Ralph. This is going to be big right here.
This is what everybody has waited for all season. To see Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart here with the first 2 rounds up in Canada. Stewart just seemed to have the speed. Ricky Carmichael, week after week, has picked the pace up.
Stewart is just sliding all over this slippery track right now. The moisture has just made this track so slippery as they pull side by side. Stewart had Carmichael on the ropes on that win last week in Phoenix. He came off the ropes, and right now he smells blood, and he is charging back on the goal.
Lap after lap, these two matching each other in 4-second range. Oh! Stewart with a huge it's bobbling. Carmichael can't capitalize. Here he comes.
Look at Carmichael.
He tries to get it through the whoops. He can't get it done.
Here's Bill Carmichael. It looks like the momentum is definitely in his corner as he goes for Stewart.
Here he comes up the inside, jumping into this very tricky corner. And the Chief Mechanics cheer on their warriors. Over the triple jump they go.
Being home, being able to train and test on your own facility, your own tracks.
Oh, down goes Stewart. There was a rider down in the corner.
Hand kind of wrapped around the handlebar with the clutch in, trying to keep the bike running. He knew he's going to have to restart. If he didn't, makes a mistake. Reed moves into second. And his front end will wash right here. Do you see the shiny part? His front end's going to wash right there. He goes down to front end tucks, and just like that.
And a win maybe in the back. Denny. Oh, look at the knack from Carmichael. Both legs off the bike.
It's the Anaheim opener that's always been Carmichael, but he always won here in Anaheim too, and he picks up yet another.
Looking skyward. What happened?
Now, just the simplest things is so challenging right now.
Well, if Carmichael can catch him and apply the pressure, boy, is that going to be exciting with 4 to go.
That whoop section, Carmichael is charging. Stewart is getting through that rhythm section a little faster. Stewart's able to jump on, jump off.
Best lap of the race, a 1:10 for James Stewart, and it's a 1:09 for Carmichael.
You said at the beginning of the show, Ralph, Carmichael using it to his advantage. Stewart was unable to double the triple section. Now he's going to have to regroup and try and reset his sights on Carmichael. There's only 2 laps to go.
Oh, they look right at each other, eye to eye.
Looks right at him.
Oh, Carmichael stumbled.
Carmichael walks it through the ruts. Now he C-mounts that double section. They're side by side coming in your living room.
Seen a race that was so slow, that was so thrilling. The white flag is out. Here we go. 1 more lap. All right, now the one thing you can't do is make that one critical mistake. But here comes Carmichael.
Using 2 different ruts. Stewart bobbles. Carmichael lifts the front end, basically trying to motor past him.
Almost up alongside. Decent lead at this point, but he's going to get blocked in here by the slower riders.
Totally
what can
caught
Ricky
up.
do?
You see him in the mud. Carmichael tries to double in, coming in the last section.
Checkered flag goes to James Stewart.
Season's going to be about these 2 Florida riders never giving up. They put the entire field down in a lap. David Bowman and Vanessa Fonseca, 2 of the riders went down the first corner. They're going to remount 19th.
Do you think James right now is comfortable just riding behind Ricky?
I think he's definitely come blown away, yet Ricky's still right there. Now I think the tables are getting turned a little bit. That's this whole new James Stewart. You know, what happened last week was uncharacteristic of this new rider that we've seen in 2006. Patience, but 20 laps, it adds up. That's why Chad right now is 8 seconds behind Carmichael. Proved our point when James had made a mistake that caught up behind Kyle Lewis. He dropped back to about 1.5 seconds.
2 to go. Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart. It's been a tremendous fight all season long. You can see the intensity, and you can hear it in the crowd. Here comes James Stewart to the inside. Oh!
Couple lap riders. Quickly moved by those, but that was the biggest opportunity Carmichael might have had to get back by him. As James made a mistake. We're going to try and do everything he can to get by number 7, James Stewart. This is a 6-point swing right now, Ralph. This is huge.
Carla Ash, the daughter of one of the Kawasaki Racing team members, Rick Ash, passed away on last Sunday. And James Stewart is doing it here tonight, taking the win for the Kawasaki team.
Again, James Stewart, their sheet so much slower. The 2 collide in the air. Oh, almost.
Are all lapping in the 51-second range, in fact.
Stewart's hogging the hay bales, looking for an edge where they're right.
He's got him. He's got him. Inside, it made all the difference how he got through those woods, Denny.
Where the Caterpillar is still kept them nice and round, and then avoid the cups, the ruts that develop. James Stewart did just that. He went to the farthest inside where that same life, and Carmichael's off the track.
Carmichael is off. Stewart continues.
Look at Carmichael. He starts getting sideways. He's got his grip on right there. He's got the bike. He just kept it on the gas. He flashes into a photographer. Have another angle. You see James Stewart. He's hugging to the left, and Carmichael. The best thing you do in a section of whoops is leave the gas on.
He's down. Here's Stewart. Look.
James Stewart goes down. That's his rhythm section I talked about at the opening of the race. He overjumps, lands in the valley, and basically just lands in the top blocks.
Leader is
That's Chad Reed on the number 22 bike, but we are watching with more than a little interest now. A battle that's developing behind him as David Vuillemin is coming into the clutches of both James Bubba Stewart and Ricky Carmichael. So we're seeing three of the biggest names in motocross, but they're not the leaders.
Looks like Vuillemin sort of took a glance over, got out of the way a little bit. I don't know if that's being courteous or just
afraid,
realizing he can't run the pace there. Those guys are going so fast, you see James get a little crooked, and Ricky diving to the inside to take advantage of it.
James looking around at Ricky Carmichael. They both came by David Vuillemin like he was a lapper almost. Vuillemin pulled over a little bit, looked at both of them. Now they're looking at each other, and they've got a real man-to-man battle going here between the green Kawasaki number 7 and the yellow Suzuki number 4.
Yeah, you got to realize here too, David Vuillemin is not slow. He's a very, very fast rider, one of the top 5 riders in the world. And these two go around him and just absolutely check out. The pace these two have going right now is so ridiculous. It's almost impossible that they can go this fast.
So James Stewart in front right now with Ricky Carmichael right behind him. We would expect this to be a battle for the lead, but instead it is, they have come up through the pack. Carmichael from dead last. James Stewart from just a spot or two in front of him. They both made mistakes. Carmichael early, Stewart a little bit later. And now they're trying to make up for the mistake that they made. Heading towards the front. They'll never get to Chad Reed. We'll never say never, I would say.
Yeah, you know, this is critical for Ricky. You can tell he's trying frantically to get around James. And here it looks like, yeah, he's trying to the inside. He's doing everything he can. His goggles, he's got to be down to his last few tear-offs. He's eating that roost, you know, being so close to James. That does not feel good. I mean, that's flying off their rear tires so fast. It's muddy. It's sticking to him. He wants to try to get by as quick as he can and get in front of him.
Like being in the line of fire at a machine gun nest, because the dirt clods coming off of there, little rocks and everything else. Here's James Stewart throwing some roost up on the crowd now, and Ricky Carmichael getting a little bit of it. Reached up there and wiped off his goggles. If he's out of tear-offs, he's going to have to use his glove. Deep rut.
Ricky and James lap times, also on Chad's lap times, letting him know the difference, letting him know his lead. It's probably shrinking a little bit, and he'll be doing the math in his head. Okay, I've got 15 minutes left in the moto or whatever. They're catching me 2 seconds a lap. You know, the pace I have is good, or I've got to pick up the pace. So believe me, they're all over there like a bunch of calculators working it out right now.
A few spots on the track. They might even be able to get a glimpse of one another here and there with all the elevation changes. It would have to be on high ground. Chad Reed climbing one of the big hills here at Hangtown. And there is the gap between him and Ricky Carmichael. It is significant, but not so bad because the laps are winding down.
You can see Chad, when he came down that hill, he can peek straight over and see where those guys are at. So he'll be able to spot them every lap and say, all right, they're catching me this much per lap. So that's an advantage he's got. And those guys, again, Ricky's in the worst position here because he's going to lose his vision. I mean, this is, you can't eat roost for 40 minutes and still have clear vision. It just doesn't happen.
He's trying to stay on a different line to minimize the effect. Every once in a while, he'll show Stewart a wheel. Now and then, there's alongside. Carmichael makes the move. Can he make it stick? He goes around and with a great acceleration, indeed, takes the position from James Stewart. And now it's payback time with the dirt coming off the back of the 4 Suzuki. It's Stewart that's going to have to pick his lines.
You see Ricky take one little wipe at his goggles there, you know, thinking, all right, good, I'm in front of him. Now I can clean my goggles off and charge and try to catch Chad. That's what he needed to do. He had to get in front of him quick.
James Stewart will try to fight back. Had a little bit of a thought there to come on the inside. He pulls up alongside again on a very different line. But Carmichael with the inside rut is going to hold on to the advantage right now. This is for second place, amazingly enough, from dead last to runner-up in one moto.
James goes inside,
Here
tries to get a pass back.
The crowd lights up. Stewart's wheels are slightly ahead of those of Carmichael there, and now he has made the pass stick with laps, with time winding down and just a few more turns to go here. These guys have been battling in the middle of the pack, now at the front of the pack, and now for the runner-up position, the final 2 spots on the podium. Carmichael getting wild, comes by, but only briefly.
Well, this is what everyone came to Hangtown to see. These 2 guys going at it. They're going to do this all season long, back and forth.
It is great racing, and long gone are the days of total domination. First by Jeremy McGrath. Well, we could go back further than that. Carmichael himself dominating the sport for quite some time. But in the last Supercross season, and now in motocross, it is really going to be the fans that come out the winners, no matter who crosses the line first.
The drizzle continues to come down here. You know, everyone in the crowd has umbrellas. And this track's going to continue to get slimier and slick as the rain continues to fall. You know, that is the worst thing you can do is take your goggles off. It's almost like a cardinal rule you don't do. But sometimes when it's cooler like this, there's humidity in the air, your body starts to heat up, you'll fog the inside of your goggles, and there's nothing you can do. You just can't see out of them. Or you lose your tear-offs like Ricky did. He had to come through 39 guys. He just ran out of tear-offs, and eventually they get so dirty you can't see out of them. So it is definitely a last resort, but...
last lap, look at this, and it is James Stewart right behind, getting into a little bit of traffic right now. Who would have thought that Stewart or Carmichael would catch Reed with that big of a lead? It's happened. These guys are incredible.
This is the same move he put on Ricky right here.
Up inside, makes it work. Reed tries to cross back behind the wheels, but can't do it. They're in the air together, but James Stewart has made the pass, and you get the feeling that since he caught him, he'll probably be with James Stewart mounting the podium here, having won Moto #1 in Kawasaki #7, along with him, number 27, Nick Way with a good start. But Stewart's out in front. That spells trouble for everybody else. Carmichael's moved into second. Stewart with a problem, stalls the bike almost anyway, and Carmichael gets by.
Yeah, Stewart just hit a little bit of mud in that second turn there. The front end pushed and pulled him out of his line, so he's back into third.
There is Chad Reed on the number 22 bike. Stewart, just like that, up into second position on the back wheel of Ricky Carmichael. And we saw the 12 of Vuillemin there also very much in evidence. And here we go. Ricky Carmichael is your leader. Bubba Stewart is right there. The crowd's going crazy.
You know, these two are such a class of the field. They always find their way to the front. Even if they don't get the best jump off the gate, 2 or 3 turns into the race, they're always 1 and 2, and Reed's always right there as well.
Well, we saw a worst-case scenario last week when both of them had problems early in the race. Carmichael right in the very first turn, and James Stewart a little bit later. They somehow managed to both get up to the front, put on this kind of a show for the fans, and get on the podium just as if nothing had happened. They are so much faster than everybody else in the field right now, and look at the gap they already have, pulling away from third place.
And we haven't seen this yet. You know, at Hangtown we had different scenarios where Ricky crashed or James had a bad start. They were never together from the very beginning. And so now they've got 35 minutes here to race each other and get to the checkered flag first.
A somewhat distant third is the number 22 Yamaha of Chad Reed. We just saw the tail side of him there as Carmichael continues to lead Stewart. And this great battle has the crowd on its feet. Yes, the terrible towels and whatever else they use here at Mount Morris are very much in evidence. Carmichael and Stewart in that order. Stewart looks like he's trying awful hard to show Ricky a wheel here and there.
Yeah, he's like that inside line coming up that hill. He keeps kind of scrubbing those bumps and trying to get inside of Ricky. And you got to keep in mind here, you can watch him. He's constantly inside or outside of wherever Ricky is. You know, that roost hurts so bad, it'll take your goggles away, and man, mainly it just hurts. So it's difficult to be able to follow a guy and stay on his pace but not run his exact line. He's got to always be just a little inside or outside and drop into the good line in the turns, but stay out of that roost when he's coming out of the corners.
Track holding up pretty well. Not a lot of super deep ruts that we saw last week in the mud at Hangtown. So the conditions here nearly perfect, not only for the fans but for the racers. Stewart is just trying so hard, and Carmichael looks pretty relaxed up front.
Yeah, I think Ricky knows it's a long moto. You know, 40 minutes back and forth. He's going to pace himself a little bit. He's going to save something in the tank for the end of the race and just try to not make any mistakes, put in the best laps he can.
Well, you can't hold your breath and grit your teeth for an entire 35-minute moto. Ricky Carmichael out of Havana, Florida. The Team Makita Suzuki RMZ 450 up front, but not by much. No more than a bike length or two separating him from the Kawasaki of Stewart.
No, and you know, these two pushing at this pace, it'll be interesting to see which one's got the stamina, which one doesn't. Ricky's known for his hardcore training regimen. He's always been one of the fittest riders on the track, but you know, this is what he prepares for, is battles like this, where he's got to go the entire moto and put his fastest lap in at the end of the race. We haven't really seen that with James. He's never really been pressed that hard, that long, but we're going to see it right now, what's going to happen.
Stewart now behind Carmichael. The gap has not increased nor decreased particularly. And here in this first couple of laps, it appears as though James Stewart just studying Ricky Carmichael, looking for perhaps a spot here or there where he might be able to make a pass. And if he thinks he's faster, then pull away.
Yeah, you follow a guy, you'll kind of find sections where you're quicker, sections where he's quicker, and you try to make up that difference. It's always an advantage being the guy behind initially, because you can find where, okay, he's a little quicker here. Why? How? You know, where can I make up time? And you'll follow his lines and sort of improve your riding in that area when you've still got the sections where you're quicker and you can try to make a pass there.
Stewart trying a couple of things here and there. He lost the 30th annual Kawasaki Monster Energy High Point National here at High Point Raceway in Mount Morris, Pennsylvania. Ricky Carmichael and James Bubba Stewart, a match race. At least you would think so. They're so far ahead of third place Chad Reed and fourth place Davey Millsaps, really carrying on a battle here. And now comes James Stewart. Gets in front of Carmichael for the first time. There's the move. We saw him setting it up for a few laps prior to that.
Yeah, he kept popping a wheel in there, and he knew he was a little quicker, and just set it up that lap and made it happen.
So now James Stewart out in front, reaches off the handlebars there for a tear-off. Carmichael gets a chance to study his young fast opponent here on the green, number 7. So Carmichael shuffled back into second spot as James Stewart, the points leader who won his first outdoor motocross national 1 weekend ago, is now your leader here at Mount Morris.
I don't think this is any reason for Ricky to hit the panic button. He's probably an advantage for him now. He can look and see where James was going faster. Why did he pass him there? What was he doing different? And he's still got his sections where he's quick, and he can kind of combine the two and make another run at James here as the moto wears on.
And now, as it was for Stewart, Carmichael has to find a spot out of the roost off of Stewart's Kawasaki to try to be able to maintain his vision all the way to the end. He's dropped back a little bit there, giving Stewart, I guess you could say, plenty of room for that
throttle and look at your mechanic and throw your hand up. Done that as ever too.
There's Ricky Carmichael, probably a second or two, I'm going to say 2 seconds behind James Stewart right now. This is the biggest gap by far that either of them has had over the other. No surprise that James Stewart, once he got to the front, is going to show the speed that he's shown in practice.
Yeah, I guess that's the 2 seconds a lap you're seeing right there. It is a little surprising to me. I haven't seen Ricky just kind of let someone go like that in a long time.
Ricky Carmichael regathering himself perhaps for an attack against the leader James Stewart. Stewart is the points leader, so Carmichael can't afford to sit back and rest on his points lead, which has usually been the case. And here's an example of the shorter lap times. These leaders are getting into traffic a little quicker than they have in years past here at High Point.
Yeah, I mean, we're just a few laps into the race here, and they're already lapping, you know, good riders. I saw Kyle Lewis go by there earlier, so this is going to play into the race. It's going to be a factor for sure. It's for the leader. It's definitely tougher to get by. The lapper doesn't know he's being lapped until the leader comes by. And then once he does, if he hears a bike behind him, he'll go, oh, that must be second, that must be third. So a little easier for Ricky to get by a rider after James has already sort of made the statement. You can see Kyle Lewis waves Ricky by right there.
And Carmichael goes past using the courtesy, and you can see the riders that are being lapped are giving them all the racetrack they possibly can. And here's Goose giving Ricky some lap time signals in the mechanic signal area, which is a new area here at this racetrack as well, along with some tunnels where the fans can get back and forth to different parts of the racetrack.
Now, when this track goes back and forth through that valley, as you G out at the base of those valleys, it gets very, very rutted. They till this dirt up really deep, and it causes a lot of ruts, even when it's not rainy here, which is most every year. But on the occasion you get good weather like this year, it's still very soft soil, very good soil, so it will get rutted, especially where the bikes are pressing down into the dirt.
A little bit of a save there by Stewart as he works through traffic, going past the number 38 of Jeff DeMint out of Kingwood, Texas on a Suzuki. And Carmichael has used the traffic to catch up just a little bit. Now they are pretty much together once again.
Yeah, lap traffic's definitely going to play a part. In fact, a lot of times, if James will get held up for 1 second behind somebody in a rut, Ricky can sweep right around the outside and get them both. So it'll be interesting to see how they get their way through traffic.
Carmichael making a run at the number 7 Kawasaki. They go past Justin Buckaloo out of Arizona on a Honda and continue their battle up front. Third place is so far back that this is just about all we have the opportunity to watch here. What a great fight for first place. Carmichael right there in the wheel tracks pretty much now of Stewart. 1, 2, there it is. Less than a second difference between them at this point, and the crowd is loving this.
Before the halfway point in the race, you can see him lapping guys. You know, see him come up on Sean Hamlin here. He was a top 3, top 5 guy in this class a couple years ago. He's had some struggles this year, but still a great rider. You know, it just shows you how fast these two are going.
Watching the leaders, but taking a look here at the running order at the bottom of the screen. Take a look. Hopefully you can find your best rider, your favorite rider. And we'll take a look at the top 20 here as we continue to watch. James Bubba Stewart and Ricky Carmichael battling for the lead. Stewart, Carmichael, a little bit more traffic there. What do they have to do to change? You know, they have an ideal line. If no one's in front of them, they have to change their lines constantly with lap riders in front.
Exactly. Those left riders, you know, they're still racing. They're passing guys who are racing for 10th through 15th place already. So they're already up into the pack of competitive riders that are running the main race lines. So they've got to go lines they haven't done since practice, completely different sides of the track. So it definitely makes you think, and it'll get these riders mixing it up back and forth.
Very close there as Carmichael came down the right side of the hill and almost made a pass on Stewart. Now Carmichael with a big drive off the outside. Stewart holds the lead, though. So they're riding very different lines, which makes the racing that much more interesting because they're on different parts of the racetrack. You don't know who might just jet by the other one with a small mistake any moment.
That's right. This soft soil, the way it ruts up as well, it'll cause a lot of mistakes. You come into that thing just a little too fast, a little too far inside or outside, just miss that line. It'll cost you a couple of seconds. So got to be very, very perfect in these corners.
Getting the bike set up just right, making it do what you want it to do underneath, absorb most of the impact. Stewart and Carmichael, two of the best in the world on top line equipment as they continue to hound one another. Carmichael behind Stewart right now, who's riding like a man possessed up for, whoa, a little mistake there as he got wide coming over the top. And Carmichael closed up a bit on Stewart with that small mistake. Now, here comes Carmichael down the inside, can't make the move. And Stewart still leads. Lap rider right there on the line.
Well, we're going to see how Stewart handles pressure here. He's got Ricky all over him. This is a very long moto, so he's gonna have some pressure for 35 minutes.
Our Toyota leaderboard takes second weekend of racing in the outdoor motocross season. James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael have delivered as promised all race long so far here today.
It looks like Ricky's starting to push the issue with James. You know, he's been following him now for a while. It's got to be getting time. He's thinking, you know, I need to get by this guy and get these 3 extra points for this moto win.
James just looks like he's trying a lot harder than Ricky, meaning the effort is more obvious. Not that there's more effort, just that it's more obvious. Look at this.
You can see Ricky wanted to dive to the inside there to get a pass. James came over a little bit, blocked the line, and Ricky had to lock him up. Went off the track a little bit.
But he's recovered. He's right back there. We can expect the pressure to continue. They both go inside of a lap rider who, once again, pulls over, showing them the courtesy that they deserve as the leaders. Stewart opening a little bit of a gap. Here comes Carmichael again. Where is the spot on the track where Ricky Carmichael might decide to try to make a move?
Yeah, it's hard to say where his quicker point was. You know, James had that spot where right here where he kept going inside a little bit, showing him a wheel, and he finally made the pass stick. Maybe it's that downhill where Ricky came around and showed him a wheel there. Maybe he'll do it there.
Up over one of the tunnels that the fans can use to move from one part of the racetrack to the other. Stewart still leads Carmichael. Third place, not even in sight. James Stewart on the number 7 Kawasaki. Ricky Carmichael on the number 4 Suzuki. They've been like this since the drop of the flag. Carmichael in the air, pulls up alongside. Stewart has to know he's there. Hear that Suzuki right next to him. Oh, Ricky Carmichael is all over James Stewart now. Side by side into a right-hander. Stewart's got the position. He'll hold the lead, but Carmichael is right there. Through the mechanic signal area. Of course, some of the most interested spectators of this race are the guys wrenching on the bikes. And all they can do is stand there and watch. James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael, 1-2.
You can see all the ruts in between those jumps, just how it's rutted and soft this soil gets. Oh, Ricky making a little mistake there, but every single jump out there is like that. It just looks like someone took a giant comb and raked it up the jump. Just deep grooves. They'll drag your pegs as you come off. So it makes you have to be that much more precise when you're coming up a jump. You can't just kind of hit it anywhere. You've got to line up for that rut 50 feet early and know exactly where you're going to go.
Stewart with a bigger lead than he had a few moments ago because of that minor little off-track excursion by Carmichael. He's got a lot of work to do, and he's got to do it over again. He was right there behind Stewart a moment ago, and now he's a somewhat more distant second.
You definitely don't want to give either one of these guys a gap like this. You give them a little bit of room where they can run their own lines. They don't have to ride defensively. And it makes it a lot easier for them to turn in quick laps. And James has already proven he can run Ricky's speed. So, you know, Carmichael's now going to have to find a couple of seconds somewhere to close that gap.
He's working hard, trying to do exactly that. James Stewart out in front right now with only lap riders to worry about as he completes these final laps of the first moto here on the High Point Raceway Mount Morris weekend. Up over the tunnel once again. And the number 11 of Travis Preston in front of the leaders right now. Yes, very good riders have gone a lap down here at High Point, and it didn't take long. Stewart. Oh, James Stewart with a huge mistake, and that hurt. He went in head first off the top of that jump and is not looking real perky right now as he reaches to take his goggles off. The AMA officials, of course, directing everybody else out of the way. The number 799 there, Terry Ott, Michigan rider, comes through, and there is major panic going on among the corner workers and course workers right now here as James Stewart is down and lost in all of that. Just for a moment, Ricky Carmichael has inherited the lead, and that looks serious for James. Take another look.
He kind of slid coming out of that turn. It looks like his back wheel didn't follow his front wheel into the rut he was in.
Oh.
And didn't get the drive off the top of that jump. Front end just dropped. That's horrible.
Oh, and Carmichael comes by, manages to miss both the rider and the bike with the great awareness and control. Take another look.
You can watch it again here. His back wheel slides a little bit. He's got his front wheel lined up into a rut, and his back wheel doesn't follow it. And when he hits that little kicker, his back wheel's in another line. Just dropped the front end down immediately.
Oh, and he knew before that front wheel hit the ground that that was going to be bad, and it was going to be a tough save. He couldn't pull it together. James Stewart down and out, apparently, of this first moto.
To see something like happen.
Remains, will Stewart recover enough to take part in Moto 2? Here's the checkered flag. It's official. Ricky Carmichael wins the opening moto here on weekend number 2 of the Motocross Championship.
You stated to me earlier this afternoon, keep your eye on this first moto because it's going to be one of the most epic battles in history. You proved your point exactly, but not quite the way you had planned it to plan out.
Not quite the way I wanted to. You know, James got the whole shot, and he made a mistake. I got by him, and he was behind me and got by me, and I started catching him with about 6-7 laps to go, and couldn't get by him, I tried to catch him, sneak inside, and he closed the door, and I made a mistake, so I had to play catch-up again with about 3 laps to go. And man, he crashed. I hate to get it that way, I really do. You know, we had a killer race going. So hopefully he gets back out for the next moto and do some battle.
There's John Dowd. You can see him inside the top 10. You know, at 40 years old, this guy's amazing. Still coming out, does a couple nationals a year, and he's amazing that he can come in and get a top 10 at that age, doing it part-time.
Well, Dowdy, one of the great veterans, one of the real Iron Men of the sport, and always a pleasure to watch him race. James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael, though, that's been the headline act all season long.
Wasn't really prepared for it, but people love to see him come out, and it's great to just have him be a part of the event.
That yellow Suzuki with a number 4 on it is now challenging James Stewart for the lead. Stewart's speed, perhaps second to none, but the consistency and the experience of Ricky Carmichael has him once again in the driver's seat for the championship. Not any given weekend. He's already acknowledged that James is hard to keep up with on a given day. But for Ricky Carmichael, he's in there for the months that it takes to win a title.
You know, most people are just way too conservative. I mean, that's what these guys have, is just that desire to win. If it was me, if I was leading a race and I just had a big crash, I'd maybe just say, well, you know what, I'll take it easy and settle here. I don't want to crash again. Maybe second's good. James just doesn't settle for that. He wants to win, and he's just going to absolutely do whatever he can do to win.
It's as though he has no memory of how bad it hurt to be stuck in the ground at the last round. He just goes right out and flies.
He needs to watch that tape a couple more times.
Makes my teeth hurt.
Or maybe he doesn't. I mean, here he is leading, and he looks like he's got things in control.
James, if you can hear me, just keep doing what you're doing. It's beyond me to try to tell you how to do this, how to craft your sport. Ricky Carmichael watching and studying. You know he's being patient and looking for a weakness or even waiting for a mistake.
And, you know, Ricky, you can see he has got to stay wide. He's got to try to stay out of James' roost. You know, he's in his lines coming out of those turns. He's just getting facefuls of sand. So if he's going to stay on his wheel like this the entire moto, he's got to stay off to one side or the other to save his goggles. You know, they used to be able to only able to run 5, 6, 7 tear-offs before it started to look like you were looking through the bottom of a Coke bottle. But now they can run up to 21, 24 tear-offs with these laminated packs that come in 7 or 8 of them that look like one. So that does help, but still you get sand in your mouth, you're breathing it into your lungs, you're coughing it up. You can see him just crisscrossing back and forth across the roost.
Having a look up the inside there, and indeed, Carmichael trying to go left to right, right to left. It's almost like a water skier in the wake of a boat. He's got to go to one side and then the other to try to stay out of all that turbulent sand in this case.
And as rough as this track is, I mean, it's hard to appreciate how fast these guys are going. They are absolutely flying right now.
Well, I'm also taking notice of what you talked about and how much faster the two leaders are than anybody behind them. Their aggression and their body language and the pure speed with which they take these turns is visible. It's visible. You can see it.
Yeah, it is, and it shows up on a stopwatch big time. So behind these two, no disrespect to any of those guys, but they're way off the pace.
Well, everybody's going as fast as they can. It's just that these two can go a lot faster than everybody else.
Yeah, we need to sit their parents down and find out what kind of ridiculous genetic cloning they did to come up with these two.
Well, there's a lot of hard work involved in it as well, and we know how hard Ricky Carmichael trains. We know how hard James Stewart trains, and that is part of why, along with genetics, they're out in front of everybody else and in a class by themselves.
Well, a lot of guys train. I don't know, but not a lot of guys can ride like these two. Something special about them, that's for sure. And you just got to enjoy it while they're here and while they're both racing together, because this is the last season you're going to see it in its entirety.
Well, it certainly reminds us of many of the great glory days in the past when there were 2 and 3 riders contesting week in and week out for championships. And they were hard fought right down to the finish, as we know this outdoor season is going to be in 2006. Working through some traffic right now. Carmichael and Stewart trying to make some room on an already crowded track.
You know, in the first lights class moto, we had a bunch of mechanical DNFs. This sand is very, very hard on engines. Sand plugs up the radiators, makes the bikes run hot. It's very deep, so it's constantly pulling down on the motor, and they're just adding to the temperature, which is a big issue with these 4-strokes. And gets into a lot of the parts. Sometimes you can suck sand through your air filter. So it'll be interesting to see if we have any mechanical problems.
Side by side, Carmichael and Stewart. Carmichael making his first bid to take the lead here, and he is edged in front just ever so slightly. Stewart with a shorter inside line, though, will be able to fight back. And the lap rider, number 31, and that is Jason Thomas, is probably thinking, wow, this is cool.
JT Money's a sand rider from Florida. You think he'd have, you know, a little bit of speed for these guys, but nobody does. Also nice that James and Ricky can race clean. You know, Ricky swung in from the outside. James could have left it on and just T-boned him, put them both on the ground. They race clean.
So Ricky Carmichael is out in front, working through the traffic as we look at our Toyota.
No problem.
Ricky Carmichael, though, setting a standard. Oh, and making a mistake. He disappeared out of the shot so quickly you couldn't tell, but he's down on the racetrack, picks the bike up. Here's where we're going to figure out just how far behind Stewart was, but now James Stewart goes flashing by and has become the leader in this one. Carmichael's going to have to try to run him down all over again.
Well, you could see Ricky when he came out of that sweeper there, he just got into a bump too deep and the back end swapped back around.
And he was able to get the bike started, but he has lost a bunch.
In fact, I wonder if Ricky will go all Da Vinci Code on us and start whipping himself this week.
The AMA Toyota Motocross Championship finishes after this.
Ricky, deja vu what took place here at Southwick last year. You were like a predator hunting its prey there for a bit, but then the track came up and bit you. What happened?
Yeah, just suspension went down and kind of rebounded me back and fell down. Yeah, it's a shame, man. I felt good, and you know, I kind of got up, caught behind James, was just riding his pace, and should have tried to make a move a little earlier, but you know what? Hey, hats off to him. He beat me.
Sort of had a gift handed to you. You were in the lead there for a while. Was it sheer adrenaline that you were running on?
Yeah, you know, so painful out there riding, you know. Plus, you know, we're not coming to one of the smoothest tracks of the year. You know, Southwick, you got to stand up a lot, and it's just taking a beating on my knee. But, you know, I felt like I rode good. You know, Ricky got around me, then I started actually catching him a little bit, and then he made that mistake in the back. But, you know, it's fun. You know, I didn't feel like I would even be this close. So, you know, it's just it's an honor to be up here, so I'm happy.
James Stewart making it happen.
So the two best motocrossers in the world have found one another again here at the start of Moto 2.
It's like deja vu, man. Same guys right up front.
Timmy Ferry, I think, slotted into third position. Thought I saw the number 15. Carmichael already opening a little bit of a gap on James Stewart. He was pretty happy about beating James straight up, as he put it, for the first time.
Yeah, it surprised me. I mean, he's won the Supercross title against him. He's got a huge lead in this series, and yet still there was people saying, oh, well, anytime James stays on two wheels, he beats Ricky. And I think that aided RC a lot. He didn't like people saying that, and so even still at this stage of the game, at this point in this series, he still is happy to beat him straight up.
And finding ways to motivate himself, even after, as I said, he has nothing left to prove. James Stewart trying to stay close. Carmichael on the force said that he and his mechanic had made some changes and the bike was awesome. So even though they are virtually perfection personified, they keep trying to make it better.
Yeah, he said after that first moto, he felt like this was the best he's ever had this bike, and he can push it as hard as he wants, and the bike's not holding him back. So that's great. If those are changes that are consistent at every single track and not just here this weekend, that's great for him. He's going to continue to chop his lap times down.
Well, he said he felt like, as we look at James Bubba Stewart is the leader, Ricky Carmichael has tipped over, gotten back up, kept it running, and now he's going to have to chase the number 7 here. So we might see some racing between these two, because Carmichael made a mistake and now Stewart is your leader.
It looked like it was going to be an RC runaway, but now these two are going to have to fight it out.
Well, James's dad is very interested in how this is going to continue to go. Our Toyota leaderboard tells us the rest of the team here at the Monster Energy Kawasaki Redbud National, and putting some new information on the board for the next time Ricky Carmichael comes around. He's not the leader. Instead, it's James Stewart. Here's Carmichael behind him. And let's watch this. This is what the fans paid their money for. Carmichael versus Stewart.
I don't know what happened to Ricky back in that turn, but couldn't have been that big a deal. He obviously kept the bike going. He's didn't lose that much time, but enough to let James Stewart slip by.
James Stewart leading. Ricky Carmichael trying to make up some ground here as the two of them battle. Let's go to Aaron Bates for a quick report.
Yeah, and you know when you see 450s coming up a little short on it that it's a big jump. And there's always guys, always a couple guys in the lights class that'll try it in practice. Michael Lessie tried it this weekend, blew his rear wheel out and thought better of it doing it again. And Carmichael did it as well in practice. So these guys are well aware of what happens when you come up short.
Ricky Carmichael chasing James Stewart right now. In the air and down the face of the jump now. The fans are going crazy now. The crowd has really come alive here, and Ricky Carmichael, giving them their money's worth, probably didn't want to tip over there and have to do this, but the fans are loving it nevertheless.
The Pabst Blue Ribbon's kicking in right at the right time here. These two are going to get together and race this one out.
We could reach critical mass here at Redbud Track and Trail with the fans going crazy. James Stewart, Ricky Carmichael, 1-2 on the racetrack. Carmichael winner of the first moto with Stewart second. And of course, if Stewart is able to hold on and win this one over Ricky Carmichael, he would be the overall winner as well.
And that's a little bit of extra wind in his sail. I mean, when he saw Ricky down, I'm sure he went, hey, this is my chance. If I can win this moto, I get the overall. You know, that's got to boost his confidence. He saw Ricky pulling him. He knows his speed maybe wasn't quite there, but I'm sure he's making a run for it now. He's going to lay it all out on the line.
Well, he definitely pulled a lot closer there through the whoops, and at the tail end of it, almost gets up inside. Stewart saws him off at the front. Here comes Carmichael carrying huge speed, makes the pass, and Stewart trying to come back around the outside. They're in two different ruts. Stewart crosses back over on the inside, can't make it happen. Ricky Carmichael takes the lead and holds it. Now he's just roosting all over James.
Yeah, Ricky's just on it. You can tell he feels comfortable. He's cutting inside of him, running it inside. He's feeling good. You're not going to beat this guy.
Well, they said they made changes to the bike, and he felt like it was the best it's ever been. So Ricky Carmichael showing the effects of when man and machine work as one. James Stewart taking the way outside line, trying to stay out of some of that roost. And will he have anything for RC in the closing laps of this second moto? We'll have to wait and see.
You can see it kind of looks like Ricky can square up and pivot and hit any line he wants. He can make that bike go wherever he wants to go. Where some guys are having to swing around the outside and pivot and bank off of a berm, Ricky can just square that thing up at will and make it turn.
Looks like it's turning just great. Rotating around the steering head there. He plants the front wheel, the back wheel just digging as hard as it can. James, on the other hand, looks like his Kawasaki trying to push in some of the same turns, and he can't get it to lay down and change direction. Carmichael, oh yeah, he's opening a gap now. Stewart's riding as hard as he can, and Ricky's just riding away from it.
I'd be curious to hear what these guys have changed on Ricky's bike. I mean, whether it's triple clamps, you know, they can try all kinds of little things. Just a millimeter here or there will make a difference that you can feel. And sometimes it's just a matter of getting the rider comfortable. If he likes it, the triple clamps or bars a little forward, a little further back, the seat a little higher, a little lower, a little more sag. Big bike class, but whatever it is, something needs to be done. This cat keeps running away with these races.
Is putting on a show, perhaps one last time for the fans here at Redbud. Carmichael will win Moto number 2 and take the overall at the same time.
You tell everybody just appreciates his talent and his skill. All the other teams, you know, managers and mechanics clapping and waving at him as he goes by and slid out from under him.
Losing 2 spots to James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael. There are those who would say it might have happened anyway, but Chad Reed tipping over makes it a lot easier for Stewart. Here comes Carmichael, and these two have resumed their battle, this time for the lead, and apparently both pretty much, if not at 100%.
Well, here we go again. If you're not smiling right now, you're not a motocross fan, because this is what it's all about.
The gap behind them tells the story. These two are the class of the field when they're both running at full tilt. And so James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael, as Carmichael goes inside, can't quite get close enough to make the pass. Stewart is there, Carmichael right behind him. And yes, if you're a motocross fan, you're smiling right now, and if you look close, you'll see smiles on the faces of the fans around the fences here. Carmichael goes outside, crosses back in with a great drive up the hill. They flatten it out side by side, little kickouts there, and here they come in tandem. James Stewart with Ricky Carmichael right behind him. Inside goes Carmichael again to take the lead, but not for long. And he does it again, side by side. Pushes Stewart out off the edge of the track. And Ricky Carmichael takes advantage by a couple of bike lengths. You know this is not over.
Well, Ricky's been definitely forcing the issue. Anytime these two get together, he doesn't waste a lot of time. He gets in there. If he's got to bump him, he did it at Budds Creek. He'll just shove you out of the way. Yeah, that's how he gets around you now.
And the rain has subsided for the time being, so the track, whatever. Oh, Stewart turns the favor right back, comes in and blasts Carmichael to take the lead.
Oh, snap. Now, how angry is Ricky Carmichael right now? He's been doing that to James all year. I think James just finally said, hey.
So James Stewart retakes the lead in dramatic fashion. Whether real anger or just that competitive spirit that both of these men have is going to rise to the top. That's exactly what we have to think here as Stewart and Carmichael resume their rivalry, resume their battle. It's Moto 1 at Washougal, and stay with us. Championship by FMF. This is what they had in mind when they put the season together. James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael going after each other. Hammer and tong, as our British colleagues would like to say, and Carmichael trying to find another way around. Now they've both exchanged sort of rabbit punches, if you will. Now let's see if the real knockout, if either one can deliver it.
Well, Ricky pushed him off the track. There wasn't a whole lot of contact there, but he definitely didn't leave him any room, and James went off the track, had to go around a jump. And when James came back, he ran straight into Ricky. He shoved him right completely off the track. So
now Carmichael just took the lead again in a very gentlemanly pass by comparison. So apparently the hostilities have subsided somewhat, at least, with an exchange of block passes. Carmichael now with the advantage, and Stewart trying to find a way back around.
Well, these two, for the most part, they'll race clean together. They're not going to, there's no bitterness there between the two of them, but they both really want to win, and if there's only a little bit of room to make a pass, these guys are going to take it. They're going to open that gap up.
Every bit of me wants to think that on both occasions they were laughing under their helmets, saying, wow, that was good. All right, I like that. I'll give you back some of your own medicine here in just a minute. So it's that competitive fire that Carmichael and Stewart possess in huge quantities that's motivating them right now as they work through some traffic there, going past Mike LaPaglia from California on his Suzuki.
You see LaPaglia ducking his head down. When you're coming up that hill behind a 450, oh man, you better have a chest protector on it. You will just be welted up.
James Stewart getting close to Carmichael once again as they work the track here at Washougal after a little rain shower. Yes, there's some mud covering both rider and machine. Stewart almost a little short on that last jump, but made it look like he meant to do that.
Can you see how fast these guys are going through these turns? They're just dropping into these ruts, leaned completely over flat and pinning it. This pace they've got going right now is ridiculous.
Well, it's easy to tell how much faster they are than everyone else. Do you see anyone else on the same lap? No.
I wish Reedy wouldn't have fallen, because it would have been interesting to see how his pace held up with these two. Would have really added something to the battle, but
Carmichael and Stewart working through lap traffic right now, and those riders doing the best they can to get out of the way in some parts of the track where there's hardly two lines. And besides, there are two guys coming up behind them, you have to leave two lines. Stewart gets through clean, lost a little bit of ground to Carmichael. Carmichael with a big advantage right now here in Moto number 1. Working traffic just a little bit better. James has got to go back to work to try to close the gap again. He can do it. Coming up on the final lap, Carmichael and Stewart with the white flag waving. Still a little bit of traffic in front of him. The number 361 there, Colton Facciati from Canada.
You've seen Ricky Carmichael have to change his strategy. He used to be so much more fit than anyone else on the track. He could just take his time, be very patient. He knew at about the 20-minute mark, everybody would slow down and he would actually get faster. And what James has done is just, he's made that strategy not work anymore. James is just as fit. He's faster than Ricky used to be, so Ricky had to increase his speed and attack right from the beginning. I mean, James isn't dropping off his rear wheel here at all. Ricky's having to push all the way to the finish. So I would be interesting to be a fly on the wall at their little team meetings and see what Ricky's strategy is. You know, it's got to be just, hey, get to the front as fast as you can and haul butt, because James is going to be right there.
Well, James is right there, but seems to be coming up on lappers in slightly less opportune moments. So Carmichael's been able to maintain this gap for the last lap, and we're on the final lap right now, but Stewart isn't cutting him any slack.
And he's not backing off either. He wants Ricky to know that he can finish right behind him. These are the turns I'm talking about. Look how fast they get through these corners.
Carmichael on the final lap here in Moto number 1, still working traffic. James Stewart doing everything he can to try to get up there and make a race out of it as Carmichael continues to bounce it around and ride aggressively. The only thing that Stewart might have is a little less race fitness than Ricky Carmichael, because he's had a few weeks off here and there.
Yeah, he has taken some time off. At Colorado last weekend, I think he was definitely sort of blowing the cobwebs off, and he's obviously a little bit better here, and I think as the season goes on, these last 4 races, he'll get even better and even better. These races will get more fun to watch, because James is just going to continue to get more comfortable racing again, and they're going to continue to work out the little glitches that they've got on that bike, if there are any, if that rebounding issue is as big a problem as they're saying. And when they figure those little things out, James is going to take off a 10th here, a half a second there, and he'll be even closer to Ricky if that's possible.
And of course, the fans are the winners. Even though Stewart is out of the championship, even by his own admission, the fans who lean over the fences every week at places like Washougal want to see good racing like this. Pass and repass between Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart. In the end, Carmichael prevails.
Oh, Ricky's waving him up. I wonder what this is all about.
Well, it looks like some good sportsmanship in the end.
Fit and healthy, James, what a battle you two just had. Probably one of the best races ever.
Yeah, you know, it feels good just to be back up and running, you know. Got actually a full weekend in riding, and man, Kawasaki, these guys busted their butt working on this motorcycle, and it's a lot better from where we've been. So all we can do is improve. We got a break after this, so I'm really excited about getting back and getting back to where I should be at.
Would you say that that's probably one of the best battles you've ever had?
It definitely ranks up there. I've been around a long time, so I've had some good battles, but you know what, I'm looking forward to it. It's great that everyone's 100%, and you know, I definitely got to say, man, I put a cheap shot on him in the back. Really not my character, but you know, I was struggling to get by. I was waiting, and getting by him clean was going to be tough. So I forced the issue, and then he returned the favor back at me, and then the second time to make it stick, I ended up getting a good pass by him.
Timmy Ferry making an appearance there. Here's James Stewart, our leader. That's how far behind Chad Reed is, and 3 1,000, 4 1,000, 5 1,000, 5 or maybe 6 seconds by my highly scientific measuring method is Ricky Carmichael. We'll be right back. Energy Washougal National shaping up to be a good one as Carmichael is up behind Chad Reed just like that. And when Carmichael sets his sight on somebody, it's usually a successful hunt. Around him, he goes way outside on this one, setting something up for the right-hander. He gets in tight and makes the pass for now anyway. Side by side up the hill, Ricky Carmichael gets the job done.
There's a pretty big gap to James. I mean, I don't know that he can close that kind of distance, but we'll see.
Well, he had a pretty big gap behind Chad Reed when we went to commercial break, and he's closed that one up right away. Reed still showing some signs of fight here as he crosses back to the inside, gets close, comes up into the, oh, he could have put a wheel on him, but didn't. On his way, Kevin Windham, not much he can do about it. James Stewart is our leader here at Washougal, Moto number 2. He finished runner-up to Carmichael in the first one, but he's out in front, and Ricky having some difficulty.
Oh, he's on him.
Yeah, closing the gap, but he's gotten it done now, so that speed that Carmichael possesses when he needs it is very much in evidence once again.
I didn't think he'd be able to close that much time on James, but he found some speed somewhere.
Well, when you've got that carrot sticking out there in front of you, you're going to whip yourself into shape here as Carmichael has closed the gap on to James Stewart here. We've got a few laps to go. Right now we'll take a quick break and come back to the action here at Washougal. Here's the closing laps are upon us, and James Stewart is just in front of him. Carmichael pushing hard, Stewart with the speed, and the battle resumes.
And this is for the overall. Both of these guys know that. James certainly knows that he caught it, made up all that distance on him, but he doesn't want to let this go either.
Oh, and right in front of the mechanic signal area, Ricky Carmichael shows Goose that he can get it done as he goes past James Stewart now. Indeed, 1-1 for Carmichael will give him the overall, but a 2-1 for James Stewart would give the number 7 rider that overall win. Carmichael in front right now with Stewart trying to figure out a way to get back around him. These two had such a good battle in Moto number 1. Certainly Stewart will have learned something. Carmichael getting a little bit better brakes in traffic. Let's see if it happens again, and that's partly why Carmichael must have gone by. James Stewart pushing him hard once again.
Ricky looks like he's swapping all over the place here. I don't know if it's getting slippery out there, if he's just pushing that hard, but he's been going sideways more than he's been going straight this last lap.
Sideways again. On the uphill section here, James Stewart right behind him trying to capitalize. They go side by side over the jump. The next turn's a left-hander. Stewart can't make it work.
That was the Bubba scrub right there, in case you were wondering. James didn't even get any air off that jump, and he hit it faster than Ricky did.
Somehow Carmichael managed to stay in front of him. Stewart's going to have to work him again. Find a turn, plan a couple of spots, a couple of turns ahead of that, see if he can make a move.
Yeah, he just lost some time in those turns here through the woods riding section, as Chad Reed called it.
So Carmichael with maybe a second advantage right now, and the distance between them is obvious to all of the some 27,000 fans who have packed the parking lot and the track here at Washougal.
2 laps to go. James is still close enough to make a pass again, so.
Another look at this sequence just a little bit earlier.
Ricky just squared it up and went aside of him, blocked his line.
Carmichael and then Stewart in that order. Inside 2 laps remaining here at Washougal. Track conditions have somewhat stabilized now, and we expect it'll hold up about the way it is for these final couple of circuits. Roger DeCoster there signaling to Carmichael.
I think he was signaling to that lap rider to get the heck out of the way.
Well, whatever happened, it worked. Oh! An epic get-off by Ricky Carmichael, who's on his feet before the bike stops moving. And now the question is, no, it is not still running. The bike did stall, but he gets it running pretty quickly. Sometimes Ricky Carmichael has the luck of the Irish, doesn't he? Look at this. Oh, that looked like freestyle.
He's like a yard dart.
That was the flying no-handed Superman get-off dismount. They'll come up with a name for that one. It is epic.
You see his front wheel it pushed on that hard, slick dirt, and he had the bar turned, and when he grabbed that sticky dirt, when it hit that again, it just locked the bars up and spit him over the front.
And what a tough piece of leather is Ricky Carmichael. Hits the ground flat on his belly from 10 feet in the air, and he's up and running before the bike even quits moving. So the final lap now for James Stewart and the checkered flag. He gets handed a certain amount of good fortune, but a lot of us, including me, are going to say that James Stewart had him covered here in Moto 2.
Well, one of the most bizarre start, get off, so we've seen in a while. Ricky, what exactly went on out there?
You know what? I was ready. I had 2 more laps to go. Just got into the lead and just was leaning over the front, you know, just charging. And what happened was I just, my front end was, you know, just sliding, and it caught and flipped me over. I'm lucky I'm not hurt. But, man, just disappointed. That was a dumb mistake, and I only had a lap and a half. And I just broke in James, and all I had to do was bring it home, but I failed.
What is it about this track? There's something about it that seems to be challenging for you.
Damn, I don't know, man. I'm always screwing something up here. It's always been tough for me, and you know what? Hey, life goes on, and it'd be good. Just keep me motivated on the weekend off.
Great job.
Thanks.
The only guy to take the overall win away from Ricky Carmichael since 2003, and he's done it not only once, but twice already this season. James, you poured on the juice when it counted.
Yeah, you know, I just got a good pace going, and you know, I saw those guys catching me, and the way this track is, you know, it's kind of hard to, you know, make up time and push, you know. So, you know, he started making, and he passed me, and I passed him back, and I couldn't hit him, but I was like, man, we're going too fast right here, and he got by me, and I saw his line, so it was good. The crowd was out there great, and I just got to give it up to my team. Like I said in the first moto, these guys went back and busted behind, and it feels good to get a win before the break, and now it's really motivates to go back and work a lot harder.
Apparently so. James Stewart on the number 7 Kawasaki gets out in front, and he's followed immediately by the number 4 Ricky Carmichael. So the 2 principal contenders in motocross racing today are out front together.
Hopefully we can get a good battle going here at the last round of the year. We had some great races earlier on in the season. James, of course, having a couple bad crashes that slowed his early season charge, but seems like he's a more patient, wiser rider at this point in the year than he was at the start of the season.
Well, it's going to take something like that to pull that razor edge off of how he was riding earlier. There's always that edge of disaster, too, and the disaster did come up and bite him a time or two. So James Stewart out in front. Let's see if he really will be the heir apparent to the Ricky Carmichael crown, the future star, the future champion of Supercross and Motocross. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Michael Byrne running in 3rd spot right now. Good run for the number 26 Kawasaki.
Byrne's, he's got something to prove. He doesn't have a job lined up as of yet for next year, and a good finish, strong finish here today will definitely keep his name in the back of team mechanics or team managers' minds when they're looking to sign a rider here in the next several weeks.
Stewart and Carmichael both kind of picking their way tenderly through this first lap, and even at that, they pulled away from the rest of the field. Byrne a distant 3rd position right now, probably 8 or 9 seconds behind Carmichael, who's maybe 3 or 4 seconds behind James Stewart.
And you see that triple step up again. This is into the new section of the track. This is all new from years past. This is a little racetrack that they have local races on the weekends, and they've added it into the national course this year. And some of the riders like it. You can see there's quite a few rocks in it over here. A lot of the teams are running moose tubes instead of actual tubes in their tires to prevent flats. So it's sort of mixed reviews, but I think for the most part people like it, and they do like the fact that it makes the lap times longer. They're upwards, you know, almost 3 minutes long. It makes the motos go by a lot quicker when your lap times are longer like that.
Stewart and Carmichael and Stewart, we've talked about the 2 of them all year long, and right now it is James Bubba Stewart leading Ricky on his Makita Suzuki number 4. And there's a section of the racetrack there that has developed a lot of ruts here over the course of practice, lights, and now this first motocross moto here.
Yeah, they call that flounder freeway there. It's always, they overwater it intentionally and try to make it kind of a ruddy mess, and it works every year. That's exactly what it is.
Stewart going for a tear-off there as he one-hands it over some of the smaller jumps. Ricky Carmichael's right there behind him. No serious competitive move out of Carmichael. Byrne somewhat a more distant in the 3rd position there. We just got a glimpse of his Kawasaki number 26.
And you can see they went through a tight section there just before and after the finish line, but the rest of this track, as you see him just pinned there at 4th. Oh, Ricky squirrels it a little bit, but this track is fast. These guys are wide open a majority of this track. In fact, a lot of the teams are having to run larger gas tanks, the big aluminum tanks that hold a little bit more fuel, because these guys they're running them dry.
Carmichael up around the outside. Yeah, you can see that right wrist cocked full wide open on the throttle most of the way around the Glen Helen Raceway here for our Giant RV National. And Carmichael and Stewart, again, neither one looking very aggressive at this point in their body language or in their style. Carmichael biding his time behind Stewart. Stewart just putting a good lap together and hitting his marks. But the two of these guys are so much better than everybody else. No one else is even in the picture.
Well, it's been that way all year. You know, part of the reason they might be taking it a little bit easy, you see coming down that hill, it's pretty muddy. They put down a lot of water in between motos here and to keep the dust down for fans. But what it does is make it very slippery the first few laps for these guys. This California soil doesn't really absorb the moisture as well as a softer, loamier, sandier soil like we would have back east. So it gets very slick when you put water down. And as you can see, these guys are kind of gingerly coming down those hills. They're not really charging yet.
Riding the front wheel down the hill and the back wheel up. We'll be back in just a moment. And a young fan enjoying James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael battling at the front of the field. Well, there hasn't been much of a battle yet. It's more or less follow the leader. Stewart is the leader, and Carmichael's content to follow him around for the time being, at least.
And he has been patient. Normally you see him getting all over James immediately and trying to make a pass by, but so far he's just been content to sit back there just outside of the roost and just kind of watch his lines and follow him around.
Carmichael on the number 4 Makita Suzuki. James Stewart using the number 7 this season on his factory Kawasaki entry. Now Carmichael getting a little bit closer, and the crowd starting to whoop it up a bit. Up the hills and down the dales of Glen Helen Raceway in front of a record crowd here. A big crowd, at least. Don't know about a record, but because the course is so much bigger, it's hard to tell. They're all spread out around the hills here.
There goes Ricky.
Yeah, Ricky goes by, swaps ends. Stewart rails around the outside and repays the favor. They're side by side. Listen to the crowd now. Yeah, they're getting the race they came to see and paid for. Yeah, this is some racing here. Stewart maintains the lead after several exchanges of that position. So a little preview of things to come here as Carmichael starting to show some signs of wanting to fight for the win.
You know, James had faster lap times in the second practice. Whoa.
Here comes Ricky again. He goes by and gets the block pass going into a left-hander.
That was a big step up. I don't think I've seen anyone do that so far today.
Well, Carmichael has a way of pulling moves out of his bag of tricks that no one else has ever seen. And now he opens a little bit of a gap on Stewart as they park it here in a tight right-hander. How'd those two guys get in that one little spot there? There's two fellas standing in one little spot on the racetrack, whipping a towel around. That's pretty interesting. Carmichael with the lead over Stewart. Let's see if James has got something to answer back with here.
Well, most of the season here, the last half of it anyway, there hasn't been an answer when Ricky does that. He goes by you and puts a gap on you, and that's the last you see of him.
Well, an old friend of mine used to call it the Slibgatiki, which was an acronym for so long it's been good to know you. S-L-I-B-T-K-Y. Ricky's just done it to James again here. Let's see if it's for good. Still early in the moto, and James is hanging close. Take another look at this exchange. These two guys went after each other pretty hard.
And I don't know if James has been doing this and just missed it this time, but you can see Ricky having to seat bounce that thing, really compress the suspension to get the lift to get up that far. Like I said, I haven't seen anybody do that yet, so that was the first time I've seen it.
Nice move by the man who's the best in the business. Ricky Carmichael still leading James Stewart. Stewart running in second position. Lots of fans and the mechanics at trackside are having a very entertaining race going on here.
I don't know if the track's just starting to come in or Ricky just feels like it's time, but he's definitely looks like he's riding more aggressive. He's picked up the pace, trying to cut the lap times down.
A little bit of dust getting kicked up there on a spot where the water is run out. Yellow flags being waved on the course here. Not sure exactly what that's all about. No Carmichael. Stewart is the leader. The yellow flags were because Carmichael has gone down. He's back up again. Oh, but no, he's hurting. That left shoulder is hurting. He's not going to hold on to the handlebars. He's one-handing it around the track. And not because he's winning. Now, look at this. How tough is it to climb this hill with one arm?
Well, you don't do it unless you have to. You can see him shaking that thing off, he must have augured in there with his shoulder, but yeah, he can't even keep it up on the bars. He's definitely got a problem with it.
Oh, yeah, this is not good. Ricky Carmichael, of course, with the Motocross Donations coming up. They're watching for the number 4.
You can see the Asterisk guys were standing there on the side of the track kind of with their arms up like, you know, you need to pull off. What's going on? And Yeah, Ricky's heading in. He's done.
Yep, we can't get our heels to touch if we're sitting in a chair in the living room. So doing it over the handlebars of a motorcycle is completely out of the question. But James Stewart, we saw the graphic there a moment ago, his last moto win was at Washougal in the second moto. So he is a pretty happy guy right now, celebrating quite vigorously as he takes the checkered flag and the victory for moto number 1 here at the Giant RV Glen Helen National in San Bernardino. And then he got it back again.
It's a bummer, you know. I felt really good today. I just had a few mistakes in the beginning, and I felt better once he got by me and saw us line. So we'll just go back and get ready for the second moto and see what happens.
Now, I know that you wish Ricky absolutely no harm whatsoever, but in a sense, are you kind of glad finally it was his turn?
No, I don't never wish anything bad on people. You know, I love Ricky. You know, we've been great. You know, not teammates, but you know, teammates basically racing on the track, and I hope he's all right. We got to go over there and show the world that we can do it over there. So he'll be back.
Congratulations on a sweet success.
Thank you.
Awesome ride. He's on a new team this year again.
Oh, down goes Tedesco. He just tucked that front wheel.
Well, that's something that you don't see.
And look at this. Carmichael has gotten around Stewart.
Yeah, so this is our battle for the U.S. Open champion right here.
And they've lost touch with David Vuillemin, who has a huge lead now. Look at the gap.
He had the whole whoop pad lead. That's pretty amazing considering he's got James Stewart and Ricky Carmichael right behind him.
Well, let's see what David Vuillemin has left in the tank. Every time he goes by the mechanic area and sees the signboard, that's got to be huge inspiration for Vuillemin.
Oh, definitely. The fans here at the MGM Grand Garden Arena are on their feet because they know that we got a great battle between the number 4 and the number 7 shaping up.
Of course, that has an impact on the overall because it's a combination of Stewart. Cost him a little bit.
Yeah, it cost him about a quarter of a second, half a second there.
Look at the commitment Carmichael and Stewart make through the whoops.
Oh, these guys are hammering the whoops. I think Stewart just found a line there. He was going way to the right. He just found a line going right through the middle, leading to the inside of the turn. So what he's doing, he's trying to find a way where he can get the drive on Carmichael through the whoops and show a block pass coming into the turn.
Let's go back and take a look at
Go down there.
He would a little bit later. Tedesco, who led early all the way back to 9th. And look at Carmichael on Vuillemin.
Yeah, now it's going to get tricky there. He's got to get past him fast because if he has, if he's riding wide there, that gives Stewart the opportunity to get inside.
Side by side, Carmichael forcing the issue, but Vuillemin not giving in at all. And Stewart makes it 3 wide and takes the lead from 3rd. Oh, the crowd goes nuts here in the Grand Garden Arena. 3 riders battling for the win here tonight. Oh, Vuillemin gets hung up in the top block.
They are going to be hammering it right now.
Not even halfway done here yet. Oh, Carmichael right off the pegs.
He had his feet off. He made a little mistake jumping off that little dragon's back. And, but, man, he only lost about a quarter of a second.
That's one of the things about Ricky Carmichael, Jeff, that he is so well known for. Just riding at the absolute edge, but still keeping it under control.
Skims the whoops. And, he almost jumped into the back of James Stewart. He was so fast off the dragon back that he almost hit him right in front of the back tire. Woo, Stewart back in, kicking out a little bit there. These guys, they are really putting it down right now.
These huge 454-stroke motorcycles, big bikes, huge power, and the 2 best Supercross riders on the planet here in one of the biggest races of the year.
This is why we race.
Carmichael really running good now. Stewart will see the signboard this time. When they're all done, I'm sure they're going to have a nickname just as good. Oh, Stewart stalls the bike.
Stewart,
oh, and down goes Carmichael. Carmichael is on the ground. All he had to do was roll past him, and it was blocked. He couldn't get by.
There was no room for Ricky to sneak by. He had the U.S. Open Championship right there. It was given to him. Bumps right there. Just stalled it. Instantly, he knows that Carmichael, all he's got to do is ride past him. There's no room for him.
And he wasn't trying to block it. He's just trying to get the bike started and keep it rolling.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, this is a great feeling right here. Last straightaway, no mistakes. Keep it on 2 wheels.
James Stewart will win the Rockstar Energy Drink U.S. Open of Supercross in his first ever attempt.
Carmichael pumping his fist there. He is not happy. He is really Look at his body language here.
He can't believe it. He knows it was a good, hard-fought battle between his arch rival and good friend. And Vuillemin put in a fine effort as well. David Vuillemin, who led early, will finish third here tonight.
Thanks to Payne goes. He's definitely on the right track for now.
That's a great point, and here comes Chad Reed as well. Riegel on the number 4, coming right after it. Second last week in Toronto. Carmichael looking to improve on that.
And that's what he figures. If you're in it at lap 10, then you got a chance to win. Oh, he throws a little triple in there. That could be a line that develops for him. He's only going to ride selected events.
Here he comes, and the crowd gets up on their feet.
It's all about the win for him. For Stewart, it's all about points.
Stewart gets caught in between a slower rider, and Carmichael cuts back on him and takes the lead away. What a move. And don't forget, we saw Ricky Carmichael and James Stewart talking after the heat race, and Carmichael saw what you and I saw.
It's all going to play out. That's what a 15-time champion knows. That's what his instincts tell him.
Vancouver and the World Supercross GP and the AMA Supercross Series. And it looks like he's about to win in Vancouver's BC place.
He loves this stuff.
Chad Reed will finish third. James Stewart has finished second.
Reed, Carmichael, and Stewart, or Stewart, Carmichael.
Gets down and he has the lead.
Well, Chad's a warrior. He knows what he has to do. He has to get out front, establish the lead. He can rest tomorrow.
Look at Stewart through the woods for the lead. Second place in Anaheim 1. Here comes Carmichael on the inside of the number 4.
It's going to be Carmichael's last chance to win Anaheim 1 here. I think he's setting it up right here, Ralph.
Through the sand.
By Stewart.
Wow, look at Carmichael's backside of that motorcycle, flopping and flying into the air.
Supercross stars, each one of them making mistakes. It's just how bad they want it. They're giving it for a pass here.
Got it. Boy, really giving him everything he's got.
This is great action. It doesn't do any good for them to do this, but you have to establish.
James
Stewart's down.
Stewart had a problem. Chad Reed takes the...
Woo, the crowd going down the straightaway here next to Carmichael. They are pumping their fist and loving it.
Stewart gets back around Reed for second place.
And this is just what Stewart didn't need to do. He fell again. He's coming right now.
Stewart got incredibly quickly through that whoop section.
Well, I'm so stiff that's why the machine gets through there that much better. But what he can in traction by making it so stiff.
All right, he's on Carmichael now. Well, he's
going to cut to the inside right here. Clean move.
But Ricky triples out of it and retakes the lead.
Look at it. That's the Bubba Scrub right there, taking the lead again.
There he goes, blazing through the whoop section.
Pulls out of the turn, and then he just soaks up that right there. And watch over this triple. He just whips the bike sideways.
And James Stewart wins Anaheim 1. And now is Stewart. Here he comes on the 7 in second. That big lead just gets wiped away.
Yeah, this is just what Carmichael needed.
Carmichael has been the fastest rider inside Chase Field all weekend. We'll see now if Stewart can match his pace.
Left-hand side.
That front wheel just sky high, barely skimming it across the rear wheel.
The whoops it out come into those whoops with so much speed.
So many people think that James Stewart rides on the edge yet. Really? He said, yep. He said, I have never ridden to my fullest potential in a Supercross race yet.
Himself a line on the inside each lap.
Here comes Stewart. He's got to pass that time.
Well, he chose the first set.
Gap back up on James Stewart. Less than a second between the two.
I think we're going to see Ricky Carmichael just getting lapped there. He's in the middle of this battle for the lead.
Stewart looking for back-to-back win. Checkered flag for James Stewart. Back-to-back wins for the Kawasaki rider. Just over a second behind him. What an amazing career it has been. Can he put the cherry on top of the sundae here tonight? Start, he sits in third. Chad Reed
He's going to take the lead. Wild view here as Carmichael blasts past into second.
Between these three awesome competitors.
Last season was a perfect storm as far as Supercross was concerned on a spectacular show. And Carmichael willing to give it his all one more time.
Make a move on Reed
There
right
it is.
here.
There it is.
The crowd go crazy.
Boy, the crowd spurred him on.
You talk about it. They are reacting. The excitement is just unbelievable. You see flashes going off on every...
The championship line right here. Oh, Reed with a big problem, and Stewart takes over seconds.
Over the years have so much focused on lap times and battled each other.
That is just total commitment.
Yeah, this is as good as it gets. Carmichael.
And they know if Ricky's coming by, Stewart can't be far behind. Oh, no! Carmichael, a quick look over his shoulder, almost as if to say, come on, James. Stewart! Side by side, but no contact, and he can't get it done.
What do you do in this situation?
And traffic again.
Look right here.
Oh, boy, Stewart with the lead. Carmichael coming
back. Here it comes.
And the crowd getting back on their feet.
This is amazing. This is what these guys live for, what they've trained their whole lives for. It's coming right
Here's
down to it.
Carmichael trying that in his career. How much more inspiration could you need?
Carmichael's right there.
He can sniff the fumes from the exhaust pipe off that big Cowie. Side by side. Back to the inside. Carmichael's in the lead again. How much fun can they be having right now? And Stewart once again, the whoop section, benefiting the rider on the number 7.
He's got to hit this whoop section. Good to stay close.
Great job is right. Gosler giving the words to his rider. To the final corner, and James Stewart will win in Orlando. And Ricky Carmichael, last race of his career, and an incredible, epic battle to the finish.
I look back, and the number 7 was behind me, and I'm like, it's going to be a great night. And it was just good, clean racing, man. What a great way to end your career on a fun race like that.
And now I just gave the greatest motocross champion of all time, I gave him an advantage by letting him by on the first lap.
Well, Stewart didn't leave much room for Alessi there, did he? He just took second place right away from him. Had a bunch of different things, and it really made a difference for him. Tail end of Supercross. Oh, look at this. Down goes Carmichael. Right out of the lead. Oh, he's just going to hang on. Stewart's right alongside of him now.
And Stewart showing a lot of patience. Didn't panic when he went down, but has got the wheel on him, maybe.
Gap already over James Stewart, as you see our motocross.com field summary across the top of your screen.
Well, one of the things about motocross here, as opposed to Supercross, is that these 450 four-stroke machines put off so much roost. Here, Carmichael's got the lead.
Whoa, Carmichael again with a huge bobble.
Huge mistake, and just strength and fitness is how he was able to keep that bike on 2 wheels. Maybe a little luck involved there. But see, if I'm Stewart and I caught that, I know that, okay, Ricky might be a little bit rusty at this point. Gets back on the gas.
How much of that is luck and how much of that is rider skill or strength and conditioning?
Well, Ricky's always said that the harder you work, the luckier that you are. And I think right there, he definitely proved his point.
James Stewart right on his tail.
See Stewart staying to the left. A lot of roost coming off there, but both these riders very impressive at this point. So patient both of these champions are, and they've raced each other so close so many years. They know each other's strengths, they know each other's weaknesses. So they're going to let this play out here. They're playing a little chess game right now.
For a guy who's been focusing on his stock car career, Ricky didn't forget much, did he?
No, it's just so amazing that he can take a break here, spend some time with the family and the new babies, have a stock car racing career, all of the media and PR time that he has to give up, and yet he still finds a way to be prepared to come out and battle in the National Motocross Championship at the very top level. all of the lines on the track. And motocross is so tough, and there's so much roost that comes off the bikes that riders are constantly trying to find a fast line out of the roost. So you see a lot of inside outside lines, and from way up above there you can definitely pick those out.
Well, as you mentioned before, the dirt diggers who prepare the Honda Hangtown Classic each year here at the Prairie City Off-Highway Vehicle Park do an outstanding job. And I can tell you, I grew up here in Sacramento. I've been to this race many, many times, and boy, they've done an outstanding job of it this year.
Well, and different than the past years, maybe the past 6 or 7 years, is that from the practice and qualifying on Saturday, typically they would just leave the track. And so when you come to practice on Sunday morning, the track's already totally destroyed. Well, this year, they worked on the track after Saturday's qualifying rounds. So they started today, Sunday morning, with a fresh track for the lights practice.
Northern California. Sacramento, the host of the Hangtown Classic, the season opener for the outdoor season, and James Stewart making the move on Ricky Carmichael.
Nice move up the inside there. Carmichael trying to get back through on his inside, but you seen Stewart just over-jump that double coming into that bull turn. Really aggressive. He wants that lead, and he's been taking a lot of roost.
Just how far off of James Stewart is Ricky Carmichael? Is he really still in shape and all that? Because we've gone 30 minutes and we're down to the final lap. We're going to see if he's in shape.
Well, I definitely think that he's in shape, but it's you know, does he is he a little bit rusty at this point? I don't think so. He's right here on the 7. I think he's rode a very smart race. Both these riders actually have been
but he sure hasn't forgotten much.
Well, and Stewart is totally dialed in at this point, really concentrating. I've been watching Ricky here. He's making little mistakes, like where he'd come into a turn and the front tire would maybe be 3 or 4 inches a little bit higher in the rut than what he wanted. And I've seen him have his feet off maybe a little more than what he wanted to. So at this point, if he's right on Stewart here at the end, I'm still going to be comfortable. I'm still going to be feeling good. And actually right now, he may be putting on a charge to take the lead here in the last quarter of a lap.
Here he comes. Carmichael making a run at Stewart. No doubt about it.
So now this is when the heart rates are really high. A lot of lactic acid built up in the muscles, a little bit of fatigue setting in, and you got the greatest of all time still pressuring you for this moto win. This thing ain't over yet.
And these two just love racing each other. Boy, that battle in Orlando, that final night for Ricky in his Supercross career, was one of the most intense races I've ever seen. And this one, pretty outstanding in its own right on the final lap. Last few corners, riders getting out of the way. Here they come down the hill. The crowd on their feet.
One last charge. There's not a lot of room to pass here just before the finish.
Stewart to the checkered flag, wins moto #1 here at the Honda Hangtown Classic. Big James and Rado right there to congratulate James Stewart. They even congratulate Ricky Carmichael.
Well, to start off the season with a battle like that, unbelievable, kind of like the same thing we saw in Orlando at Supercross. Ricky, you're not very happy with your ride right now.
No, that was pitiful, you know. I've been struggling. I mean, James is riding good. I mean, if everything was perfect, it still would have been tough. But I didn't do myself any favors by crashing, and we're right at that breaking point. But you know, next moto should be good. I found some lines when I was behind him, and just frustrating, man. You know, falling. But obviously, some of that's probably for not racing in 2 months. But you know, we got to go back, regroup.
Well, James Stewart, meaning business here at the first National Hangtown. James, off to a rough start for you, though, having to make your way back all the way from 10th place.
Well, you know, I made a big bobble coming in the first corner. I got the whole shot and just kind of got kicked and went all the way off the track and probably went back to 10th, I think. And I knew I had to get around those guys, otherwise the race was going to be done. And I kind of got in. I just settled in behind Ricky, was just kind of riding. And a little bit after halfway, I think a lap after halfway, I just threw down the hammer. I was able to get in front of him and then try to ride it out from there.
Now, with Ricky being gone for as long as he has and off from racing, were you surprised at all at how well he was riding here?
No, because, I mean, it's not like he's sitting at home eating potato chips this whole time. You know, I actually thought it was going to be harder to beat him because he's been off and fresh and wanting to race since Orlando. And we had, you know, another 7 or 8 races after that. So I knew it was going to be tough, you know, compared to having 2 months to 2 weeks. So we make a decision which one.
Wait a second.
Second position, yes, there he is. And wow, this is going to be fun again. He's gotten the whole shot twice in a row. Carmichael's going to be forced to play catch-up again. And this time, we hope that his goggles stay intact. And
It'll be his 100th overall motocross victory.
Well, the two-moto format favors moto number 2, even though Carmichael was second in the first one. If he beats, and they're just this close together. Carmichael trying to make a move, but James Stewart, with the tremendous speed that he possesses and the talent that he uses to get it in that deep bag of tricks. You talked about Michael Lessie not being a very big guy. Well, neither is Ricky Carmichael. But Carmichael has developed his body over the years. He's got the strength to wrestle one of these bike bikes this season. The first 3 wins overall went to Ricky Carmichael, and that tallied up to a total of 99 motocross wins during his career, well over.
And just really jackknifed the bike, and it just ejected him off.
It was Yoshi Takashuda who came off the bike like that. The bike did a complete 360, complete forward roll. Stewart, Carmichael again up front.
Moto 2 here at Budds Creek is depth. Both riders have been extremely strong all day and focused. And James Stewart is came back with a vengeance here at Budds Creek and today.
Stewart and Carmichael. Carmichael is going to have to be the patient one, really, in terms of that 100th win as well. So we'll get back to that bit of action here as we continue to watch the race up front. It's very difficult to take your eyes off this battle for the lead, because not only of what and no one else even in the picture. Mike Alessi back almost 9 seconds behind the leader at this point and losing ground. These guys are the class of the field.
Capitalize.
We go up front. Carmichael as close as he has been. He's in a rut on the outside. He gets pushed wide and out of bounds.
James Stewart, if he's going to earn number 100, Stewart's going to make him earn it. It's going to take everything that he has, and he's going to have to lay it all on the table. Wheel to wheel and bumping each other here, but they are doing it very respectful with each other. And so James Stewart's not going to let Ricky Carmichael have anything.
And you know,
Ricky Carmichael at bay.
Better than 20 minutes, probably around 20 minutes of racing remain in this 30 minutes plus 2 laps moto number 2. This is really a compelling drama here played out in this beautiful and hilly race course in Maryland. Stewart and Carmichael just going to go back out. I don't know. Well, that's a mystery.
Yeah, we didn't really get a shot there. We're all looking down at the left peg there, but not really sure what the deal was. But right now, it's irrelevant because
the same. Well, they have punched their time cards in and gone back to work. The race is on again.
I tell you, both these guys want to see Stewart choosing more of an inside line there through the mid part of the turn. He was going way wide earlier. Carmichael was cracked. The riders were complaining about the track being too smooth in practice. Watch when they come down here. Look at those lines. They just found a little edge. A little rut is formed. Nobody going wide now. It's all for Stewart. It's all about protecting those inside lines and keeping up his momentum, keeping up the drive.
Not have to come to a complete stop, park it. Here we come up inside. Carmichael's even. They're going down the hill. Stewart's got the inside line. If Carmichael can cross back under him, he might get the spot. But he hops the wheel.
Stewart and Ricky Carmichael, they're the best riders in the world. And Stewart incredibly savvy, has that sixth sense and knows where the other riders are. It's been so fast, he's making huge jumps right here, pulling up besides James Stewart lap after lap in the same spot, but he hasn't found a line where he can make it work exiting the turn.
Until now, he draws up even. But
chess match these two riders have been playing here. They've been just cat and mouse, lap after lap, trying to sense where each other has the fast lines and figuring out a way to block.
Make it happen there. He's right behind James again, though.
And James is such a smart racer. He knows to block those insides. Watch right here. He's going to go to the left, up the left rider. Keep Carmichael from being able to.
Stewart in previous laps. Right here. Gets up alongside. Together over the jump. Carmichael draws even. Maybe a little bit ahead. Stewart is there, but that right-hander. Now here's where Carmichael's been trying to get it done. He's got a lap rider parked in the way and closer and even more exciting. Here goes Carmichael to the inside. Stewart made a little mistake and did the blocking, and Ricky Carmichael has the lead.
Effort and energy here, trying to achieve his 100th motocross win of his career. Incredible pass on James Stewart.
Now, you could say that one motocross win is worth 2 car wins, couldn't you?
Well, and the one thing about it is that's 147 wins, okay? We have about the year at this pace. And he's not going to disrespect any of his past accomplishments by slowing down a little bit.
Win number 100 will go in the books with this win with a checkered flag. Carmichael has accomplished something no one in the two-wheeled sport has ever done before, and it's done here today. You were there to watch. And James Stewart, of course, comes over, has to give his props to the man that passed him and pulled away to win.
Yeah, I did. The first moto didn't go the way I want, but that's unbelievable, man. 100 wins just in outdoor motocross. And, there's been a lot of people that have helped me that it's to their credit as well. I can't do it all, and I've had some great sponsors, some great people around me, and it's just been an unbelievable experience for me.
Stomach.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to sit here and make excuses and stuff, but I don't know what happened. Just the first moto, sitting on the gate, I just started getting really sick, and then I went in between motos, and just everything came up. I tried drinking something, and of course you can't get IV, so I rode my best. I felt really good. I was a lot closer today than I was even last weekend, but it's just a bummer.
To beat Ricky Carmichael for the overall, he's got to keep going.
Really thinking about this, about the shower doors wet, you can't see through it clearly.
Whoa. Sorry, Jeff, but Ricky had a moment.
But the chase is on. We're 11 minutes into this moto. Seems like these two riders have stabilized. They're going to try to get against.
You're watching Moto 2 Round 5 here at Red Bud in Michigan, and the chase continues. Carmichael.
James Stewart over Carmichael. It is definitely below that now, and you can see how deep these ruts are and how bad the hooks are coming out of there.
Up front. This is what it looks like over the uphill double. Stewart, Carmichael. It's now down to less than 2 seconds.
32 seconds last lap. Carmichael a 2:30, about a second and a half quicker.
An all-out fight between Stewart and Carmichael. Wow, a moment there for James Stewart. He almost threw it away. Again, because Carmichael is relentless.
Carmichael is on Stewart now, and Stewart, you can see him almost every one of those bigger, but right now the heat is on.
Coming up to complete another lap. Less than 10 minutes remain, plus the bonus 2 laps. Carmichael is coming. Moving Moto 1 on Alessi. Tried to do it on James Stewart, but Stewart closed the door. Ricky goes one side, Stewart the other.
And Stewart got it.
The uphill double. To go back to one of our storylines at the top of the show, remember that this is Ricky Carmichael's second last AMA Toyota Motocross event. The next one, the last one, is at Millville.
Carmichael riding all the wide lines, the long lines. See, same thing there. Carmichael way on the outside hand to gain that advantage. Trying to take the overall at his very last Red Bud Motocross.
Just like in Moto 1, Carmichael.
At this point, you can see a dozen lines coming into the turn. Insides, outsides. It's also difficult at this time of day because when they go through some of the treat areas.
We are back at Red Bud, and we are back with this incredible battle at the front of the motocross field. Final moto of the weekend, round weekend victory. He would dearly love that before Ricky calls it quits.
That's really such a good fight, just like he's doing here today. Stewart, such a determined racer, does not want to give Ricky any wins, and Ricky's...
This year, he wants to beat him this year before he farewells him.
You see Stewart once again inside, full amount of skill and balance to negotiate those and keep up your momentum along the way. Burst of energy, stretches it back out, 2 or 3 bike lanes.
He was somewhat ill in the second moto at Bunch Creek 2 weeks ago.
Side turns are into a deep groove because once you get in, you can't get out. If that lap rider makes a mistake or slows, you're locked into that line, into that rail, if you will.
Closing stages of Moto 2, round 5 of the AMA Toyota Motocross Championship. We're in Michigan, in Buchanan at Red Bud, a track that Ricky Carmichael has won 6 consecutive years in the top 20.
Biggest stars in the sport of motocross, once again duking it out. This is for the moto win and for the overall in Ricky Carmichael's final Red Bud.
And he's had to work his way through methodically. Now he's as close as he's ever been.
Carmichael's having to pull tear off. See a rider down. Carmichael goes wide. Stewart on the inside.
Oh, he's good through there. This is where he got him in the opening moto. Easy as you like. Just a little over 2 minutes remain, and then the 2-lap board will be displayed. Where Carmichael farewells Redbud. He has just one more AMA motocross event left in what has been a stellar career.
Rocco's leap. Stewart seems to be a little quicker, but Carmichael is really dialed in through this section. He's got some great lines. Chooses to go inside. Stewart pulls out about a second.
He's down! Stewart is down! Oh no, he's stuck! Can you believe it? Laps. The dream for 07 at this point in time is over anyway.
Down on the inside. And it almost looks like he grabbed a handful of front brake and the front wheel just stopped on him.
It's been a privilege to watch him. This era of motocross and supercross has just been something special. His 7th consecutive victory at Redbud here in Michigan. He doesn't...
Absolutely, you know, it was hard. You know, I thought it would have gone a lot smoother, but hey, James stepped it up, and just super pumped to get a win. Not the way I wanted to do it, but hey, life goes on, and you live another day, man.
Hey, take a look at this.
Man, I just, you know, it was just tough. I went a little too far inside and just hit my brakes and stopped. And I was so pissed right now. I mean, felt like I had it. You know, I only had 2 laps left, and